What's going on? Welcome to Lapeef Sports on the Lapeef Network. How you guys doing? How you gentlemen doing?
Doing good, man.
Going
What's
on?
going
Happy
on with you?
Sunday. Happy
Happy
Sunday.
Sunday.
Good
What's
morning.
good?
Good morning.
Yeah. Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday. For you guys that's tuning in, we definitely appreciate you. Make sure you guys get them likes up. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Uh, Let me just still playing. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Also, if you want to become a member, make sure you hit that join button. Um, yeah, just wanted to send a message out to the people that's watching. We are going to be live April 23rd. That link is posted to the top of the chat. We'll be live in Houston, and it's our first live show. So become part of history, man, and come see what the experience is all about live and in person. So that's April 23rd. We do have a discounted hotel link that is posted as well. So you guys get a discount by using the Lapeef link. Come on through, kick it the whole weekend, kick it today, your choice. But we will be having that April the 23rd. Get your ticket. Again, it's posted at the top of the chat and it's also in the description just in case you guys are watching this replay later. Yeah, man. So it's a lot going on up in sports. As you guys can see, it's a lot of things just going on, period, man. We definitely gonna open up the discussion. Let's just had a conversation as I say. I did see some people in the chat already highlighting a few things. So I definitely want to make sure we highlight some of those points. Um, the Lapeef Network is about having these tough conversations. Some people may have a strong stance on it, and we totally understand, but it's all fair game. You know, it's happening. And if we see it, we're going to tackle it, man. We're going to have a fair, respectful conversation. And let's just see what it do. All right, Cal, it's on you.
First of all, again, happy Sunday. Want to introduce the panel, of course. We got a full house. Shout out to the homie Avon. Good morning, Avon. What's going on? We got Anton. I don't know if Anton's gonna be on video with us, but we're gonna get Anton in, of course.
I'm gonna jump on camera in 1 second. Give me a sec.
Okay, and then we got Sway in the morning. Our
Good
man,
morning.
Hank, of course. And Jay always with a story to tell. What's going on, gentlemen? So I kind of want to do a quick recap to kind of segue into what we're talking about today from last week's NFL games. Are y'all happy with how everything shaked out before the Monday bombshell from Flores? Do you know how was the football part?
I was surprised by the Cincinnati Bengals. I definitely was surprised. I didn't see that coming. I mean, but hey, I'm all for it, man. I hope they beat the Rams too. I'm rooting for Cincinnati, man. I'm rooting for them.
Once
I'd
I
have had the
knew,
Chiefs on upset alert for a couple weeks, so I wasn't really too shocked. Go ahead, Sway.
for some reason, I just knew watching the game when it was tied in the fourth, and Mahomes had it right there to go up and score and basically put the game away. I just knew he wasn't going to do it. I just knew he wasn't going to do it,
Man,
man.
bro, a thing I took from it was playing quarterback in the NFL is hard. It's really, really hard. The guy who we consider to be the alpha of the position broke down like a third string backup when the moment came. The moment came. And I'm not saying he's trash, but it's if you're not at the top of your game, it can go left, man. He turned into a whole another person that
You know what's
last
crazy?
drive.
I don't think it's his fault.
I don't
As
either.
much as I said that, like he kind of folded it, or just seeing him out there, just how he was reacting and playing to the game, I still don't blame Mahomes for that L. I still blame the coach, because like the fact that your quarterback is out there not making the right reads or scrambling out the pocket, or you're not making a play call where he's confident enough to hit the read that you want him to hit, like that's on you as the coach. You know what I mean? Like you got to get your player right and on the same program as you, so you can. So especially a young coach, it's not. I mean, young quarterback. It's not like he's Tom Brady or Drew Brees or Aaron Rodgers, where they're established in the league and they can kind of make their own play calls and they got trust because they trust their coach first and started making the plays early. Like every time I see Mahomes in big situations, he's always scrambling or always not hitting the first read. I'm looking over back through the plays. I'm like, bro, why are you looking to the outside when they know they're just going to double outside? You need to hit someone up the middle or slant like that. Look at any of the Patriots red zone plays. It's either a running play or a quick slant, or like it's not to like actually hit the end zone. It's to hit somebody as fast as possible and either get them some yards or they're at the goal line. It's like this guy Mahomes is trying to make a passing play, passing touchdown in the end zone every time, and it's never like he's just trying to get the yards. Like you needed less than 10 yards to score, and you couldn't get that done. Come
And
on,
Andy
man.
Reid, he took a little bit of
Yeah.
responsibility at the end of the game too. You know, some of the play
Take all
calls.
responsibility.
Yeah, he definitely did set Pat Mahomes and them up. And then to your point, Sway, I feel like all their quick passes is always to Travis Kelce. You know what I mean? It seemed like the only time they really get the ball out quick is when it's going to Travis Kelce. Otherwise, Mahomes, you know, run around 18, 20 yards in the backfield, then throw it to Tyreek Hill. And it always kind of looks incredible. But really, as a play call, you know, every single play can't be some breakdown. So I definitely feel you on that. You know, Andy Reid should be taking a lot of responsibility. Of course, I know that everybody was talking about, or we all were talking about, Pat Mahomes' brother and fiance having a lot of impact. Boy, them videos came out.
Yeah, I saw that too.
Tearing him up with that. So, you know, I'm kind of happy that they lost. That way we ain't got to hear about them no more. And plus, I was kind of big on Joe Burrow these last 6-7 weeks. So I'm happy to see Cincinnati, you know, make it to the Super Bowl. I mean, they're the ultimate underdog. You want to talk about changing the narrative in almost a year. You know what I mean? I'm sure all our favorite teams wish we could be rooting for Cincinnati like that. So, you know, Anton, there you go. What do you think, Anton? Are you happy with the Rams? You know, where are you at?
Yeah, I'm happy with the Rams because of Matt Stafford. I'm a Matt Stafford fan because I think that he got a raw deal as far as the fans over in Detroit. I just think that the Detroit Lions organization is this is proof that the Detroit Lions is a horrible organization. And that you can take a quarterback literally about a year removed from being in a position to where people were just killing them for not ever being able to progress and really make the playoffs some years. Whereas, and then he goes over to the Rams and he's in the Super Bowl. I mean, if that's not the definition or if that's not the best reflection of a dysfunctional organization, more or less than actually looking at the Rams themselves, I'm a Matt Stafford fan in general, and I just want him to win. I think that he's dope. He's an MSU, you know what I'm saying? He former MSU product and all of that. And I don't think that a lot of the organizations outside of the University of Michigan don't get as much love. So, you know, especially because of Tom Brady or whatever like that. But I'm a Matt Stafford fan, so naturally I'm a rock with the Rams just in a general sense.
I mean, I look at it like this, man. I think you can't put all that on Andy Reid. Mahomes, man, he was making some bad. He started right before halftime making bad decisions. You know, you could have settled for a field goal and you let time run out and throw it some old silly pass. Then you try to throw it out of bounds. See, those are just bad decisions. And then that whole 4-quarter drive for the touchdown, like you said, he was on an 8-yard line. You on an 8-yard line and you can't get 10 yards? Why are you trying to milk the clock? For what? Go in there and score. If Burrow's gonna beat you, they're gonna beat you. There's nothing you can do about it. But at least go in there and score. Take the lead and have your defense to finally find a way to bowl you back. You ain't did it all the whole game. Can you do it for me in these last minute and 10 seconds? Give me a minute, 10 seconds. I mean, if you can't do it, then hey, that's just it is what it is. But he made a lot of bad decisions in that 4-quarter drive to me. The man run around 20 yards to only get 4. Dude, if there's nothing there, start running, take off, and get 8 yards to get the touchdown. Come on, man. I can't put all that on Andy Reid. Now, Andy Reid has some fault in it. But Mahomes made a lot of bad decisions. And who knows? Maybe because he had that issue in the back of his mind weighing on him with his damn fiance and his brother being an asshole. Who knows, man? But he made a lot of bad decisions, in my opinion.
Man, well, it should be a great matchup. We really can't sleep on the Bengals at this point. You know, I wouldn't be surprised if they go out there and make a game out of it in the Super Bowl. Maybe we could save, you know, that kind of coverage and conversation for next week. But, you know, I feel like it's kind of the setup for the Rams to win. But, you know, I don't want to count Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, you know, them guys out. They're riding the craziest hot streak. So, you know, I guess we'll just see how it all plays out next Sunday, how everything's shaping up over the week, how the team is talking and whatnot. And, you know, I think it'll be a great little matchup. So we went to sleep last Sunday, everybody thinking about, oh man, Cincinnati's about to go crazy. You know, Tom Brady just retired. We got so much to talk about in the NFL. And then Brian Flores drops a bombshell of a lawsuit on the NFL. Among many things, he's claiming, discrimination. He's claiming that some of his interviews were shams. He feels embarrassed and humiliated being brought in as such an obvious token interview, almost that it was like just a box to check for certain teams like the Giants. So what do you guys think? Just overall, some of these teams have come out in response. Even the Miami Dolphins brass has come out and, vehemently denied many of his accusations. And so it's kind of a back and forth situation where he can make the lawsuit. Everybody's on his side. Oh, man, we need to see change in the NFL. We need to see more opportunity. Brian Flores has a point. We're saluting him for putting his career in jeopardy. And then as soon as the owners and the GMs start to come out and say, we absolutely deny what he's saying, we have detailed notes, the conversation changes to, well, is Brian Flores really telling the truth? Is what he's saying have real legitimacy? Is he really that great a coach to begin with? And matter of fact, I don't even like Brian Flores now, so I don't even think he needs to be my coach. So if he's the Texan, if you're a Texan fan, or if you're, some of these other teams, now do you even want Brian Flores to come in as your coach, or do you want him to go away now? It's crazy how the narrative can kind of shift from, back and forth day to day. So, what do you guys think of it?
Let me speak on this, right? So maybe I should wait and go last because I know that what I'm going to say is a little bit more controversial. So I'm going to wait. I'm going to let y'all go ahead and say what it is that y'all go to say.
I think it's just one of those situations where either people already know that it's a thing, like I guess black coaches getting passed up on, or it just even, I feel like it's not even black coaches. I feel like they're getting the wrong narrative. I feel like a lot of teams just pick the coaches they want, and even other, maybe white coaches or Hispanic coaches or whoever coach, goes for the job interview. All of them are in the same boat as Brian Flores. But I can also understand that if this is happening with other black coaches in the league where they're going and they're just not getting a job, or they're being told, other things in the background, I feel like it is kind of a well-known thing amongst, I guess, the coaches or even the owners that we're going to hire who we feel most comfortable with. And if so happens that we're more comfortable with white people, we're just going to keep doing that. And it is what it is. Some guys might take the chance, like the Steelers or, down in Florida with Brian Flores the past year. But I think the narrative to say, like, it's one of those he says things, and I don't think you're ever going to really get this case to fall through unless you can get full proof that the owner said this out his mouth to another person, either via text, via like phone conversation like Antonio Brown did, or just, I don't know. But if you don't get definitive proof that this is how the owners are thinking, you're not going to get this, since they have the Rooney Rule, where you have to interview a certain amount of minority coaches when you're doing this interview process. I think as long as you have the Rooney Rule, it basically gives them a scapegoat to say, I don't know what you're talking about. I interviewed 2 black people. I gave 3 hours to each of them, like the other white people. I mean, they could have wasted those 3 hours and not cared, or just did it, but they can say they did it. And at that point, they have no obligation to Brian Flores or any other black coach when it comes to these situations. And my thing is, I think it's because of that rule. If you get rid of that rule where you are required to interview minority coaches, then you can start seeing how they're moving without the confines and restraints of the NFL. Then you can start trying to hold them accountable instead of them saying, no, we did what you asked, now leave us alone.
Listen, bro. Do y'all really want affirmative action in the NFL? I'm just wondering. Y'all really want affirmative action in the NFL?
I don't think it's affirmative action, though. I think it's just
I'm speaking figuratively.
Like outsiders.
I'm speaking figuratively. Right? Okay. I'm using it as like tongue in cheek, and that what is largely understood in any position in corporate America, in sports, when it comes to endorsements all across the board, is that people do things because they like you, not necessarily all the time just because you got the best product. Are you a cultural fit? Because nobody wants to work with somebody that's a whistleblower. Nobody wants to work with anybody that's a whistleblower. Even if you want to take it over into the NBA, right? Nobody want to rock with Mark Jackson. Nobody wants to, as good as a coach as Mark Jackson is, nobody wants to work with the guy that's going to possibly blow the lid off of whatever it is that you do, or is difficult to work with. And so what it comes back down to is that I see people all the time, they'll say stuff like, well, white coaches get multiple opportunities. Listen, it's people in the NBA. Alvin Gentry has gotten a million opportunities despite being on losing squads and winning squads and all of this other type of stuff. There's people that's Willie Green. I was sitting on the bench and I was watching what was that? What's the team that Willie Green is the coach of now? He's the head coach of an NBA team. I forgot what team was we watching. Was it New Orleans? New Orleans, yep. We were sitting there and we was watching the New Orleans Pelicans. You have never seen Willie Green not have a job, not have a coaching job, not thrive in the NBA, all or whatever, because he's a person that gets along with other people and he does what the owner asks him to do. Dwayne Casey came from the Toronto Raptors, is now as a coach of the Pistons, got the worst record in the league, but he do what he's asked to do and he fits in culturally as far as what the team is asking him to do. One of the things that I seen was a complaint was that they were asking him to lose games so that they can get a better draft pick, and he refused to do so. Don't nobody want to talk about that, right? Don't nobody want to have that kind of conversation. My point is that I don't want to live in a space where people are being required to do things or work with other people. I don't even want to live in a space, or I don't even want to work for a company where somebody brought me in because I'm a token, or somebody hires me or just gives me an opportunity just because of the color of my skin. I want to be revered. I want to be acknowledged. I want to be acknowledged because of how good I am, because of my ability to get along with people, because I fit in culturally. As a matter of fact, when you interview in an organization, it's not just a one-way interview. It's you interviewing them to determine whether or not it'll be a good fit for you and whether or not it satisfies your requirements as far as what you're looking for, as far as being surrounded by the right culture that you would feel comfortable working in. So why would you even want to work for an organization that don't even want you in the first place, regardless of whether or not they're required to, even if you're the best person for the job? There's plenty of jobs that I was like, nah, this ain't no good fit for me because I just don't like the vibes there. I don't want to live in a space where people is doing things based off of a requirement instead of doing and if y'all don't like it so much, then don't watch their team. But we know what's going to really happen. Every Sunday, y'all going to tune in no matter what for the people that's complaining, and they not going to make any kind of problems or whatsoever, and they just going to complain on the sidelines and try to do the more. Listen, you vote with your dollars, you vote with your views, you vote with whatever it is. If you're not rocking with them, then don't watch them.
I look at it like this, though, man. There's one thing about the hiring practice we all know, but if what this man is saying is true and they want him to take losses, man, that's a whole different thing. I don't care what color coach you are.
What team has not in any league not asked their head coach to take L so that they can get a better position in the draft?
And the only position,
honestly,
when you're talking,
asking me to do it and then having proof, because that's his thing, right? I can ask you, but nobody else knows, right? Nobody else you have no proof. It's his word and his mouth. But now that you bring in proof into the conversation, that's a whole different ball game.
That's not the issue. The issue is not whether or not they ask somebody to take losses. The issue is that they're trying to lean on the color idea in order to justify the argument.
I understand what you're saying, but my issue is for you to ask me to take losses. I'm not talking about the color thing.
I'm cool with
not talking about that.
If you're not the type
when you asking me to take a loss, that's gonna look bad on me. And I'm not gonna let you make me look bad. Not like that.
Yeah, and Anton, let me give you.
But I'm not having no problem with that.
This is another problem.
I don't want to be a losing coach. That's a completely conversation than leaning on the race aspect of it in order to justify the argument. My point is that gets asked from coaches all the way across the board.
I'm going to bring back race. When you talk about asking a coach to lose, you're right. They do ask coach to lose, white, black, Hispanic, whoever it is. They ask them to lose sometimes if they want to get draft picks. I agree with you. The problem is that when they typically ask the black coaches to do this, they ask them to do it, get the team right, and then they hire the white coach to come in and finish it off. not keep the black guy in or get another black guy or whatever it is. They shit on the black guy's reputation, his record, and everything, and then throw him out to the dust. And as ESPN is on their ass 24/7 saying this coach can't coach because he's been 1-36 in the past 3 years, it's like, how are we expecting these guys to keep wanting to do this if they're not even getting a second or third opportunity after going through these spurts of being asked to literally lose? You're literally it's not like the other owners are telling me, yeah, I told him to lose for a couple years. He's a great coach. We just didn't work out for whatever reason. They're not telling other GMs or other owners that this guy's a great coach, even at regardless him throwing away his years. You know, they literally told him to throw away years.
How do you know what
Like,
they say behind the scenes? How do you know
they're
that?
not, because they're not getting second or third opportunities.
How do you know? How do you know?
How do you know they're not? That's what I'm saying. You're going to go back to the he
That's
say,
my
she
point,
say.
is that I'm not going to speak and make an assumption based off of what I think is being said. I speak on basically what
Well,
it is.
what I know is they're not getting extra opportunities.
Say what?
Well,
I know they're not getting extra opportunities.
not in the
One
NFL.
thing
In the
you
NBA,
definitely-
in the NBA, they're more
But
progressive.
we're not
We all know
talking about
this.
the NBA. We're talking about
Now
the
listen,
NFL.
listen what I'm saying. Listen what I'm saying, Sway. In the NBA, we know they're more aggressive. I know it's one of Anton's examples of Gentry and my man from used to be with Toronto's down with. No, he's down with the Dwayne Casey. But the NFL, it's not like that. You probably only have a couple guys who probably got a retread jobs, and that was Hugh Jackson and maybe Art Shell, and he got hired by the same team. So I mean, I don't know too many guys in the NFL getting fired one day and getting another opportunity to be head coaches the next. It just doesn't happen. They feel like, oh, I gave you a job, I gave you opportunity. Hey, be happy.
And
move on.
Here's the thing I'll follow up with that you can. If we're going to do a comparison of leagues, why is it? So the NBA is what, about 90% black? NFL is about 70% black. But they have two totally different outcomes when it comes to how coaches, what color coaches get to coach. You know, that's the problem. That's the heart of the problem is that those two leagues are undeniably black as far as the labor pool. But why is it the NFL struggling to hire black coaches when we've been hiring black coaches in the NBA since the late 80s, early 90s? So what's the disc? Because they're both run by the same group of people, rich white dudes that have nothing else better to do. So, you know what I'm saying? Long story short, what is it about the NFL process and the culture of the NFL that is preventing black people, black men, black coaches from becoming head coaches? What is it about that title? Because there's plenty of black offensive coordinators, plenty of black DCs, plenty of black position coaches. But when it comes to, I'm going to make you the leader of the ship, we have a disconnect in the NFL that does not exist in the NBA. And that's the heart of the matter. And I think that's the question that's being asked. Now,
no, bro.
Well,
Listen.
I think that
we can say no, but answer the question. Tell me what.
Okay, so but why can't I sit here and make the argument on behalf of Hispanic coaches? Why can't I say that how come they don't have enough Asian coaches in the league? How come I can't go ahead and make the argument and say, why don't they have a guy from Canada over there? Where do you stop? Right? It's not just black people in the world, bro. And you can't just make the argument on one race. Any race, if we want to do this is a rabbit hole that y'all trying to run down. If you want to do this, you can do this as it pertains to any culture and any race across the board. How come it ain't more Hispanic? How come it ain't a woman coach in the NFL? Do we stop there? How come it ain't a midget coach in the NFL? Dude, please. It's all about what y'all don't understand is
I asked a specific question. Can I get a specific answer?
Okay.
I was going to answer the question.
The specific question is, what is the disconnect? Why is it that one group of 30 white billionaires seem to not have a problem putting black men in a position of leadership, and the other group of 30 white billionaires seem to have a problem? What is the disconnect? What is the difference? What is the problem?
The biggest disconnect, I think, is that the fact that the players don't really have any say. They have 3 times the players on each team, and the players have less say than each of the NBA players. You know, it's pretty much NBA is a player-driven run league. They have their own little players commission, and they have a big voice and a big say in how things go. You look at LeBron, any team he goes to, they basically say he's the GM. They don't even say the GM's the GM anymore. You know what I mean? You would never say that about, even when Tom Brady was on the Patriots, you never said that he was the GM of that team. Like, he doesn't have any real weight when it comes to any decision making on the team. And the NFL has held very headstrong in keeping their control over their teams at the base level of the coach. The coach has a bunch of say, then the GM, the assistant coach, the offensive coordinator, all the coaches, all the way up to the owners. These guys have all the power. The players ain't got no say to nothing. And I think another big factor that comes in is that they don't really have guaranteed contracts. They have guaranteed contracts, but it's not it's not for the whole amount that they could be going for. You know what I mean? Like, say if you have $100 million contract, you probably only guaranteed 34. You know what I mean? Then you have to play for a game check for the rest of that. And if you don't play, you don't get none of that. And so the NBA, they have guaranteed contracts up, Steph, LeBron, whoever, they get in 200, 150, 120 million guaranteed. And so when they're coming in, they have so much leverage after getting these guaranteed contracts, they shit don't stink. And so they're going to ask for what they ask for. If you don't, they're probably not going to play. They're going to play shitty. They're going to do whatever it is, and they still going to get their money. You look at Gilbert Arenas, the guy got hurt and still got 61 million for doing nothing.
Okay, well, let me tell
it's
you
just
what
a different dynamic when you're talking about the NFL to the NBA, especially like you said, they're more progressive.
Let me answer your question. The difference is the union. That's the difference right there. The union is totally different. The best union in sports is baseball. The second best is basketball. NHL is better than the NFL. I mean, I just hands down, it's just better. So when you got a union that is as strong as the NBA and the major leagues, man, you can't tell them players nothing. They're gonna make all decisions. They got the hand. They got the gun.
Hey,
NFL does that.
Can you break down what the union does? Like, just a little bit of insight.
Oh, okay. Well, the union, the union is one represents the player compared to the NFL. They the HR. That's what they are. So when y'all have to call the HR for you, JR, that's what they're gonna call. They're gonna call you union representative to represent the players when they go in to talk with management about contracts and everything. So
and a lot of times the players run these unions too. I think Chris Paul runs the NBA players union. It's not like it's a lawyer or somebody outside of the NBA. It's a lot of times it's the players who run this. So they're speaking from the players' perspective. You know what I mean? Directly.
I would say that there's definitely because the NFL ownership,
of course they'll be with them.
Because the NFL ownership is so much stronger than some of these other leagues, there's actually a cancel culture that some of the coaches and players have to come up against in terms of these owners. The owners can band together and freeze a guy out. I mean, it happened to Colin Kaepernick, whether, a debate could be made on whether he really wanted to play or not could be made for sure, but they definitely froze him out. So, and that can happen to a coach too. So when we talk about cancel culture, Brian Flores might get canceled as a coach for a couple of years.
He's done forever.
Done forever. What I mean? And that happens to a lot of coaches. Anthony Lynn, he was the head coach of the Chargers. He got pushed up out of there after, I want to say, one season. I mean, we already know about the Hugh Jacksons and the Marvin, the old Cincinnati coach. His name's escaped me for a second, but we already know what happens to those coaches where even if they're given a big opportunity, once they're out, we don't see them for a season or two. And when we do see them, they're an assistant or they're a coordinator or something like that. They don't necessarily get another head coaching job. But maybe to Avon's point that he might have been alluding to earlier in regards to what the disconnect is, I feel like that's a hard question to answer because you do wonder why NBA owners even got guaranteed contracts. I mean, that's something that they have to agree to, whereas NFL owners, they don't do that. And it's a lot harder for a white coach in the NBA to get up to a certain position than, some of these former athletes. You know what I mean? Brad Stevens is a name that everybody knows, but some of the other white coaches been coaching in the NBA for like 25 years, you know what I mean, in certain aspects. So it's not easy for those guys to get those positions in the NBA. So I imagine that maybe some of these NFL owners and top brass kind of see that, they may not want their league to go that way. There's a lot of old money, old families. Some of the owners of these teams been the owners of their teams since they've been bought. back in the 50s. You know what I mean? The Bears are owned by Virginia McCaskey, who's like 155 years old. So it's one of those things where they may not want their league to go that way. They want the league to stay in the hands of the powers that be. And so if you make, a black dude your team president, that might, you know what I mean? The inner workings of the family who own the team, they may have something to say about that. So it's easy for us as fans, as black folk or minorities in general to feel like, well, I want them to have somebody in there who kind of represents the fans and represents the players. But ownership wants somebody in there who represents ownership. So, it's a guy who they could go to dinner with, a guy that they can see maybe away from the game of football. So many teams make that mistake because they end up getting a guy that they like instead of the person who's qualified. But in their mind, the qualification is, okay, is our organization making money? And are we putting a decent enough product on the field to where we keep our fans engaged? And that's about it. We as fans want championships, but we can use the Bears as an example. They're $1 billion company making, a couple $100 million to $1 billion every year in profit, as far as I know. And so why would we say, oh, well, they need a black coach? Why do they need a black coach? They're making hand over fist money. So it's definitely
that's what I was going to speak to is that regardless of how this plays out, I want people to really observe this is what power looks like. This is what power looks like when you have 30 men who are all billionaires and they have a private club. There's not a damn thing you can do to them. Nothing. Like it would take an act of Congress, quite frankly, or an act of the federal government to change the way they move because they have that much power. And even then, those are their friends. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you're not going to get Jerry Jones or what's the guy, Maury over there with the Giants. You're not going to get these guys to do anything that they don't want to do. They're part of a club that very few human beings are a part of. And the people who make the laws are on the lower part of the club. Most politicians ain't even in the room. They're outside knocking on the door. So it's like at the end of the day, this is if we want change for ourselves as black people, we got to stop appealing to white people in white power structures for change because they're not willing to give it to us unless it costs them money. And even when it costs them money, they can look and say, how much is this going to cost me? I'll live. You know what I'm saying? So you have to be, if we will, black people will never live in a society where we have complete power until the society is run by us. You know what I'm saying? It's just, that is the reality of on the ground in America today.
Hey, Avon, I want to ask you a question. So you feel as though Mr. Flores should have probably sat back and not said nothing?
I think that depends on his bank account, quite frankly. I think that depends on his bank account. I don't think he would have filed this lawsuit if he needed to work for the next 3 to 5 years. You know what I'm saying? Because quite frankly, he will never do it again in the NFL as a coach. So I think if it comes down to if his money is straight, then he's in the space to make a stance that he's taking or whatever. But Lord have mercy, if he still got bills that's due this month and he ain't got no income coming in, I'd have kept that to myself, man.
And college tuition.
I think he kind of went about it the wrong way personally. I think I'm sure he was advised by his lawyers or whoever to be like, if you want people to take this seriously, you're going to have to bring legal action. It's going to take legit legal action, you know what I mean, to get the media outlets and whatnot to take it seriously. Because in his interviews, when they asked him, well, what do you want? He said, oh, I'm just looking for change. And it's like, okay, well, if you're just looking for change, I don't know if a lawsuit is really the way to go about that. You know what I mean?
You do not believe that, right? You know that's just a talking point. You know that's the thing that he presents to the media when in reality he want that bag.
Well, but I mean, if you want the bag, wait until all your coaching interviews is done. Wait till they've chosen everybody. Wait till you ain't been chosen as an assistant.
He's gonna get the bag as a settlement. The settlement is gonna be a bag for him. They're not gonna go to trial. They're not gonna sit here and have this thing long drawn out. The NFL owners or whatever or league is that he's suing. They're going to wind up going ahead and paying him off and getting him out of the way, and that's gonna be the end. The bag comes in that way. It comes in more than just one way.
Well, I mean, then okay, let's say okay, I agree with you. Then let's say he's doing all of this. He didn't get his job. He still want to get his money, so he gonna do his thing. I mean, that's what John Gruden is doing. John Gruden got a lawsuit going on too. He's trying to get the rest of his $100 million too. But John Gruden didn't necessarily go on no interview. You know, he didn't go on the car wash and go on 6-7 different shows talking about how he feels wrong by the NFL for bringing up emails from 2010 and got fired, and now he got to go through all of this. So he gonna get his money easy. Brian Flores, he done went on all these shows. He been, you know, slouching, talking about how tough it is, and he done had a hard journey. And, you know, he go on his interviews and putting his best foot forward. And, oh, this guy looked a little disheveled during our interview. And I just couldn't believe that, you know, it's the only time it's ever happened to me.
Yeah,
Like,
he's selling.
if
pulled
you
John
want,
John Gruden couldn't. John Gruden couldn't because he looked like the bad guy. He looked like a bigot. So he couldn't go out there. He had to go.
We're talking about the NFL, right?
Yeah,
I mean, you know,
I know we said John Gruden, but John Gruden had to go tuck his tail and take whatever he come to and let it blow over and then go from there. He couldn't afford to come out on the tour like Brian Flores. Brian Flores is trying to make the NFL look like the bad guy. So you have to go out there and put it out there because you know that's what it was. I mean, he had to. He had no choice. If he's going to do this, this is what he had to do. Now, I don't necessarily agree with what he's doing, but I understand.
I mean, I feel you. I just think that, you know, the NFL as a collective, I mean, because he brought a lawsuit against the whole NFL, you know, all 32 teams. So them as a collective, they got more power and influence and say, and they could drum up some receipts. They can go back and say, we got notes. Just a simple statement. Well, we got notes and details saying that we were very much paying attention. Just them saying that is easy to discredit all that Brian Flores has already said. He went on a whole day interviews. The Dolphins come out and say, well, no, we never offered him no money. And now all of a sudden everybody's like, well, I don't know now. You know, Brian could be lying. He just mad that he didn't get a coaching job. You know what I'm saying? So it could be so easily, you know, dismissed and dissuade that if your attempt is to bring about change, I don't know if he's going to get that. If, to your point, Anton, all he's really do is looking to settle, that means this could just all go away with a check. Then there's not going to be any change. It's still going to be Mike Tomlin as a coach, a couple guys here and there as assistant coaches. Next year, the 2023-24 season, or I guess the 2022-2023 season, there might be another coach here and there to get hired midway through or whatever. But it's still going to be less than 5 coaches at a time. So what changes Brian Flores?
You really think this is about change? Listen,
I'm going off of what he said. He said, in his interviews, he said, well, you know, I just want to bring awareness.
What they really
want change in the NFL.
Completely different conversation, bro. Let's listen. At the end of the day, the NFL cut Colin Kaepernick a check. When all was said and done, and when y'all got done protesting and all of that, he got his check cut. Nobody said a word. They didn't revisit the conversation. They didn't say, why would you take money from an organization that you're looking for change from? All of this other type of stuff. He got the check. I think the same thing is about to happen right now. There is a media tour and blitz in order to try to paint and look and make things look more in your favor. And I think at the end of the day, it's going to be it's all capitalism, bro. Y'all think that this is a race thing. It's not. It's a money thing. That's what it comes back down to. It's a concentration of power and it's a money thing. I know these guys. Let's take NFL owners, right? I know these guys, these dudes I've been doing business with for the last gajillion years. We move in a certain type of way. We look at things a certain type of way. We want to continue to control the power. This is how we're going to do it. It's a money thing. I don't think it has anything to do with race at all.
I want to say this because this reminds me of some of the jobs that I've been around, and you sort of see the same thing. You know, there's a history of things that's been going on long before you. It's just what the world is, right? It's about who you know. It's about power. It's about money. That's what this whole world is, and there are a lot of hungry folks. It might be a small percentage of people that's really trying to change without a motive behind it. And I think about some of the things that happen with these corporate jobs, even if you're trying to move up the ladder within a company. Like typically when somebody experiences something personally, then the first thing they do is they want to put a lawsuit out. And typically when they do that, they usually it's all about money. It's all about money, and I see it so often that this happens because they at that point they don't care. Like they'll watch it, but when they find an opportunity or when they feel as though it's their opportunity to try to get that bag, then they're gonna go for it. They're gonna paint whatever picture it is that they need to paint. Because let's be real, this stuff's been going on, but it's the timing of it. It's the timing of it. He's already uncoached already, right? How many years he been in the league?
15 plus, because I think he was coaching for the Patriots with Bill for a while, and then he finally got his head coaching job down in Florida. And so I think it's around 17, 18 years.
I mean, we could say his whole life probably. I'm sure he was
Right.
in it as a young man.
Yeah.
Then played a little bit, all of that.
So now it's time is up and time to exit, right? Go out with a bang. Go out with a bigger bag.
I say yes. If he stops pursuing the issue, even after, like you said, Anton says, get his check, then I got no respect for the man no more. But if he continues to pursue what he believes, what he thinks, what he feels about the NFL, then I'm okay with it. I have no problem with it. I'm not going to just say it's all about money. But if he stops and he goes away, we don't hear shit about him again, I got a problem with that.
And Anton, you did make a good point. These coaches do have to learn to fit into the cultures that they're getting into outside of the football. So I think it's going to be hard for him to get another job because he is a whistleblower. We wonder how some of these super old 75-year-old men still be getting these coordinator positions. Well, part of that is because they fit into the culture of what these owners and GMs and team presidents are looking to get. So, are you going to want to get some guy who's kind of, trying to make a name for himself like Brian Flores is? He takes himself really seriously. He takes the culture of football really, really seriously to the point where the owner kind of in jest maybe says, hey, man, if you want to lose a couple games, take you a little vacation. I'll slide you, some money here and there. If you just want to take it easy. Don't make your team run so many laps.
He just got done playing with Bill.
Absolutely not. My integrity is too important to me. It's like, okay, you can have that, but you may not fit.
Kyle, there's a problem
the culture that they're talking about.
Kyle, there's a problem.
Listen,
there's a problem, Kyle.
Fundamentally, if you own a company, you can disagree with whatever the ownership say. If you own any company, I don't care how big or how small, I hired you to do what I asked you to do. That's the end. That's the end goal. I don't want somebody that's here to create waves in what it is that I got going on. That's culture. You know why these dudes, people keep saying that it's a race thing, but what it comes back down to is the people that are most successful are the ones that ride for the team. No matter what their disagreements are, no matter what the issues are, they keep that junk internal, and you can kick it with me and you can do whatever with so on and so forth, but you're not going to go out here and say something different than what it is that we presenting as a unified front. That's just what it comes down to.
Corporate discipline. It's corporate.
That's how
discipline.
Marvin Lewis kept his job for so long. He was riding for the ownership, riding for the team.
Go in there and he say, yo, I need you to do A, B, and C, and they be like, I got you. Yes, sir. And that's how now you can disagree with it, right? And I feel Hink on the fact that, he's saying that I don't want to move like that. But at the same time, you got to understand that, cool. Then you got to deal with the consequences that come along with that. They don't want to work with that type of person.
Well, he's going to get this bag, though, because he brought something to the light, considering the world we're living in right now, the immediate last 24 months. He's going to get that bag because he's put their integrity into question when it comes to the integrity of the games. Now, if we have just the idea of 5 to 7 owners every year telling their coaches, I'm going to need you to take this L this week, that impacts a big investment they just made it when it comes to their investment in gambling. Like the gamblers around me are all sitting up and taking notice now, because think about how that changes spreads towards the end of the season. Think about how that changes all of that. Do they know what they're dealing with at that time as far as, is this a legit product that I'm gambling on? So he's going to get this bag because he done brought something in there that they do not want to talk about at all. If that's happening, that affects a very large revenue stream for them, which is gambling. They cannot have that, bro.
Wait, so then let me ask y'all this. Y'all talking about he getting this back. First of all, the average NFL coaching salary on the top end is like $10 million. So let's say they give him 2 years, he get the next 2 seasons. So he get, let's say he settle $18 million, something like that. That's a lot of money. So after taxes, that's about $10 million clean. He's only 40 years old. So after that money, in let's say 10 years, is he going to be out? You guys think he's still going to be in the league coaching, or he going to be in college somewhere, coaching in Mid-Atlantic?
If you're broke after someone gives you $10 million,
no. You forgetting one thing. If you broke after somebody gives you $10 million take home after all the taxes and expenses, we got a bigger issue on our hands here, guys. If you broke,
sure he can get a job.
At 40 years old, if you can't make 10 M's work for you, take home, we got a bigger issue on our hands.
Well, but I mean, so he accomplished his goal of getting the bag, right? But I'm trying to take him at his word that he's trying to bring about change. He's trying to bring awareness. He's trying to pave another way for coaches behind him to get jobs. So if he just takes the money and then we don't hear from him again, and you look up, oh, he's a coach at some real high, JUCO program or something like that, or some, Division II, like that'd be cool. But what impact did he have? What changes did he really make? What really came out of that? Because I'm thinking he's doing this for change. He's already going to be out of a job. What team is going to want to hire him if he's not if he's not going to go along with the program? If he's already shown people that owner could come tell you, hey man, I need you to do X, Y, Z this season. He's like, no, I'm gonna do everything I can to whatever it is, just fly in the face of whatever the owner says, team president says. Who wants to hire that guy other than some lower level program? And if that's the case, then what's it all for, really?
Well,
you know what I mean?
Well, Cal,
and getting no jobs right now.
Cal, truth be told, I wouldn't want to work for the NFL again. If it's how he feels, if that's what he stands on, I wouldn't want to go back there.
Yeah,
not with the hiring practice. I wouldn't want to have nothing to do with him. I wouldn't want to have nothing to do with him. I'm gonna take the damn money. I'm gonna tell y'all to kiss my black ass, and I'm gonna go on and do what I need to do. But if that means go coach college, then so be it. I'm gonna make change with these young people.
He can be like Dion and go to HBCU.
Educate these young people and do my thing there.
Bro,
and tell the NFL to kiss my ass and move on.
If I was Florida A&M, I'd fire whoever is sitting in that chair right now. Bruh, you got to go. Mr. Flores, come on down.
That's a great marketing opportunity, and that's a great move for Florida A&M. But here's the key, though, Hank. Let me ask you a question, because I feel you 100%, right? If you standing so hard on this, then you're just going to completely remove yourself from it. And if you had to guess, and it's obviously all hypothetical, if somebody came and said, all right, listen, Mr. Flores, we're going to give you $10 million over the next 5 years, some crazy bag, right? You think he's not going to take it? An NFL team specifically.
Will he take it? Oh, I'm sure he would. But now, let me say this. I don't know the man. I don't know if hypothetically. So what he showed me so far, I don't think he will. Now, if he does, I'm like I said before, I'm gonna lose all respect for the dude. Move on, man. I wouldn't. I wouldn't. I would. Now, let me tell you this. If I were to take the job and do something like that, I'm hiring an all-black staff and see how this owner likes this. I'm gonna go all the way against the grain. I'm gonna flip this script. I'm gonna hire all-black staff and see what goes down.
I think he got a number just like everybody else got a number. And
you're right. I believe that. I believe that too.
All of this, I want to see change is going right on out the window, bro.
I want to. Oh, go ahead, yeah. Yeah, I was gonna say I was just looking it up. They says his net worth is about $5 million. He says he has an annual income. He's been making about $500,000. Net worth in 2017 was $3 million. 2018, 3.6. 2019, 4.2. 20, 4.7. 21, 4.8. And 22, $5 million. So that's how much his estimated worth is seen to be.
He should be good. He should be.
So, he's been in the league some years. Go ahead and file a lawsuit right now. Again, perfect timing. I don't think we'll be having this argument if it was early on in his career. But the fact that he's known about this, at least we can honestly say that there's some type of like discrimination that's across the world, period, in jobs, sports. It's just the way it is. But the timing of when he spoke up seems to be questionable for me.
It's brilliant, actually. Whoever's lawyer is needs an extra payment. Drop that right before Super Bowl week. Oh, God damn, good shit.
You know what's so funny? So like I see this super chat and it says every sellout has a number, not every man. Bitch, you sell out every day when you trade in your time for money doing something that you don't want to do. All of us make sacrifices and do stuff that we don't want to do. Don't nobody want to hear that sword that you standing on. Get on out of here. And let's be clear. Ain't nobody changing nothing without resources. Two broke people having a plan together don't mean nothing. It ain't worth two dead nickels at all. All of us are selling our time for money. And most of us, especially earlier in our life, at some point you get to the point where you can buy your time back, hopefully for most of us, and then we can do what it is that we want to do. But every last one of us are selling out technically because we're trading in our time for money to do things that we don't want to do in order to make sure that we can provide for our family. And then at some point, hopefully, we can do what we want to do. Then we can change the narrative. But let's be clear. We don't nobody want to hear your little stupid me, man. I got smoke for everybody. I don't care what nobody say.
Well, you know what, Anton? That's a perfect segue into what we're getting into.
You run over there to the other.
Can I bring up a point real quick before we move on? Because honestly, I truly believe that this Rooney Rule, like, I don't know why somewhere in my gut, I might be like, reaching a little bit, but when I hear this Rooney Rule and how it's like the rules around it and how it's implemented, I swear to God, I think of the was it February Black History Month. I think of the 3/5 compromise. I think of like all different type of weird ass compromises amongst Black people. I think of like even a little bit of segregation. It's like I don't even think that we want these rules, and even if they're there, they're not really helping anything. If anything, they're hurting how we really progress in the future. Like I don't.
Bro,
it's so weird in my gut. Like I'm just like I don't. Why are we even accepting these weird ass rules and then even thinking we should get changes out of them?
Sway, I feel you. I want you to peep something real quick. So a lot of Black people are a little uncomfortable. As if there's a case in the Supreme Court right now that's making Black people a little uncomfortable. They're trying to knock down college admission affirmative action. And the people aren't bringing it on white. The Asians are bringing this. The Asians are saying, hold on. Why? Because my 3 kids all got straight A's and play the piano. Why can't they get into Harvard over the 3.8 Black kid doing the same damn thing? Because they feel like they're being exclusive. Because here's the bomb that's going to really Black people need to shut up on this one. Let it happen, because you know what's going to happen when they can't judge and they have to take people on their face value. The white people aren't going to get into college anymore because all the Asians are going to push them aside. That sometimes we just got to get out of our way, just put our head down, do work, and let people do their own thing. Focus on you, focus on your own, and let other people blow it up. And because I'm telling you, if affirmative action and college admissions fall, Harvard is going to look like Beijing. Real talk, dog. If they got to take everybody on a specific academic criteria, the Ivy League is going to look like the East Coast of China in the next 10 years, bro. Let it play out. Let it play out.
Well, look, I mean, I feel like this is all a good segue into, some of the other issues that we got going on. Joe Rogan is currently going through, his own little bit of a cancel culture type controversy. And I really think that, much that was mentioned earlier, is really about money. On one side, are you going to, if you have strong convictions about everything that's going on within the health world, are you going to keep your product and your catalog of material on a platform that you don't agree with? Or are you going to take a stand and remove your catalog of productivity because of your beliefs? And I think that, much like the conversation around cancel culture in the NFL, where they just want to be able to have the conversation, I think that Joe Rogan is one of those people also who tries to say that he's just trying to have the conversation. A lot of times he seems very comfortable with his own ignorance on his own platform. However, people are allowed to be ignorant on their own platform, provided they make an avenue to be corrected. And I think that some of the controversy that he's going through right now is really, it's high time that it's been addressed, because again, he's been way too comfortable to say some of the things that he said on his platform. But again, are we looking to have the conversation and correct him, or are we really just looking to get him up on out here? Should Spotify break him off a check and make him go away? Or should they stand next to him and let people like Neil Young go and take their catalog and go? So, what do you guys think in regards to just him trying to, make an avenue to have the conversation versus apologize and say, I was wrong, y'all were right, I won't say it again?
If the Republican Party isn't going to make Trump go away, Spotify ain't going to make Joe Rogan go away, bro.
The guy drops up. Go ahead, Jay. You haven't said nothing.
But yeah, I mean, I feel like, when they have you in the scope, they're going to keep throwing stuff your way. They're going to keep, they went back 10 years and found clips of him saying the N-word. Like, they're going to find what they want to find. You slipped at some point in your life. You was loosey-goosey, and they have you on tape doing it. And they got it in their pocket. And the minute that you get to a point or you have some pushback on something that may or may not affect their money, they're going to pull that out, man. Like, yeah, Anton, man, we got you at this Detroit game. And, they're gonna pull up your files, man. So with him, and you notice that with the Dr. Sanjay Gupta, you remember when CNN, he was using the ivermectin, CNN said, oh, he's using a horse tranquilizer, which clearly is a human medication that has been given to horses in higher doses. Not once on CNN, a news channel, did they say it was a horse medication. Did they say it was a human medication? They presented it to us as a horse medication, and Joe Rogan was using it. They pull up a clip of Joe Rogan. Yo, they put a filter on there, that made him look like somebody out of The Walking Dead, man, just to make him look like he was sick. You know what I mean? So when they have you in their scope, they're gonna throw a bunch of things they're gonna throw a bunch of things your way to get you out of there. And I think Joe Rogan, he's pushing back. I think he does little stuff purposefully just so they'll bite, so he can make them look stupid, or he can, bring a bigger conversation along.
Yeah, Joe Rogan not dumb now. He's been in broadcasting since, I want to say, 1997 when he first got his job with UFC as a color commentator and whatnot. So he knows how to say something sensational. He knows how to play up his ignorant statements. If there's some kind of controversy where a lady walks into a Dunkin' Donuts and calls the cashier the N-word, and he's reading back what goes on, and instead of saying N-word, he says nigger, I think he's not doing that on accident. You know what I'm saying? So even though he might just be reading the news or whatever it is, Joe Rogan not dumb. So in one case, there's a certain conversation that should be had about being too comfortable saying whatever it is you want to say, and then calling it cancel culture when people hold you accountable for it. But on another hand, if he just wants to have the conversation around maybe how it's a weird word, or how light-skinned dudes being called black is weird and all that kind of stuff, it's kind of a circular argument. And I feel like when The Rock involved himself into it, he was kind of on both sides of the fence too. When Joe Rogan said, oh, well, I said it because I'm just trying to make the conversation, The Rock was like, oh yeah, great point, Joe, I'm gonna come on your show tomorrow, let's talk about it some more. And then when the N-word compilation came out, The Rock was like, you know what? I don't know if I'm trying to mess with you now. So it seems like a real flip-floppy situation. And I think that's what Joe Rogan wants. If Spotify is not going to remove his show, then it's only going to increase his views, and it's only going to increase the ad dollars and everything else. So, I don't want to say that this is all by design, but if money's talking, then it makes more sense to keep Joe Rogan around versus cancel him like everybody wants to.
The biggest problem with Joe Rogan and the people who watch, like the disconnect to the people who watch him and know him, or know him like personally. I don't know him personally, but I watch him and I know a lot of other people watch him. The people who are so angry against this, they don't watch him. because the problem is you're watching a 10-second clip, you're watching, or however many seconds, however many minutes. This guy drops 150 podcasts a year. In a year, and you're worried about one podcast and not even the whole podcast, 10, 20 seconds of that podcast. If you want to actually have an open conversation about a variety of things and an open dialogue about stuff that, you know, the news don't want you, the government don't want you, whatever, whoever don't want you to hear about, he's talking about that with professionals, you know, the jab, whatever it is.
With Jordan Peterson at that, you know, they hate some Jordan Peterson.
They're not. It's not even about racism. It's about his influence. They don't want him to have the power that the news had when influencing culture, popular opinion, whatever it is. He's gaining more power than CNN and all these other major news broadcasts because we don't have any trust in them no more. We don't trust that they're actually telling us the truth, and we actually trust that at least he's telling us more truths than the actual news. So when he brings the experts or whoever, you know, journalists, whoever they bring in to have these conversations, and you're getting wrapped up on him saying nigger. Like, I've been in schoolroom classes reading books and niggers right there, and the white teachers saying it, white kids saying it, I gotta say it, everybody gotta say this shit in elementary, middle school, whatever it is. And now you guys getting wrapped up on a grown-ass man saying it on a podcast. Like, this is like acting like women where you're hearing it, but you're not listening because you're in your feelings. As soon as you get in your feelings, you're not even listening to the conversation no more. You're just hearing to respond.
No,
I don't do that.
You're 100% right, Soy, because it's easy to make a compilation. And, you know, I actually have to start questioning the judgment of the people that actually start to say cancel culture or cancel somebody is necessary once they hear a compilation and they don't really understand the context that is being used. For me, I don't believe in cancel culture at all. First of all, I don't believe in advocating against somebody else watching somebody else. I think that people should do whatever it is that they want to do when they want to do it. If you don't want to rock with it, and you don't want to watch it, most times, 9 times out of 10, like Sway said, you wasn't the one that was the target audience and you wasn't listening to Joe Rogan in the first place, right? But the reality is that I don't want to live in a space where mob rules is dictating who can and who can't say whatever it is that they want to say when they want to say it. One of the things that I value in people is having conversations with people that think completely different than me, look different than me, has different experiences and backgrounds than me, because I think that that's where my growth comes from. It comes from experiencing different things and being exposed to a different mindset, whether I agree with it or not, that helps me to make more informed decisions and get better understanding. If the only thing that we ever heard on these platforms is marriage is bad, then it would be no place for me to exist and being able to have the conversations and saying, well, nah, you can be successfully married. And then whoever it is that want to listen to it, they can compare and contrast, and then they can make their own decisions as to who it is that they want to rock with. But I don't believe in cancel culture. And if cancel culture is how it is that we're defining that people should be removed from platforms for certain things that they say, why shouldn't we remove people from platforms from certain things that they think? We all should be canceled. Every single person in the world should be canceled and shouldn't be saying nothing, because I don't know anybody that has not said anything that was not above reproach or somebody didn't get offended as a result of it. It's trash. It's a slippery slope that you go down. And how do you dictate? Because again, one of the things that I liked about Trump, whether I liked him as a person or not, is that he said what he really wanted to say. So that kind of gave me some insight of whether or not I really want to rock with the dude. The thing that I don't like is when somebody present themselves a certain type of way, but they really feel indifferent. At least I get to make the decision as to whether or not I want to rock with you or not based off of what you're really thinking. Instead of being bamboozled, you tell us one thing and then you go around it. You say you want to cancel student loans on the first day that in your presidency, and then the next thing you know, they coming back and they saying, listen, y'all gonna have to get yourselves together. Listen, I don't believe in canceling student loans, but I don't want you lying to me about the fact that you said that you wanted to cancel student loans. When you legislated and you said that you was part of the legislation that created, to where people couldn't even discharge student loans from bankruptcy. Like, you was part of the people that wrote the bill. So all I'm saying is I don't believe in cancel culture. I don't like it. I don't like the fact that somebody can disagree with somebody else and then they get a mob together and say, we need to remove this person. If you don't listen to them, then just don't listen to them and vote with your dollars and choose to spend your dollars wherever it is that you want to spend it. But I don't like the whole idea behind cancel culture. It's trash for me.
Hey man, I'm like this. I'm not a fan of the N word at all. But the definition doesn't change. When I say the N word or I say the word, it doesn't change. It doesn't change just because your black ass say Anton or that white boy across the street said it. It's still the same definition.
But you
I
don't
mean, what the hell is the difference?
then, Hank.
You said what, bro? I'm sorry.
Like you don't know. I'll tell you. I'll give you an example. If I call him white trash, yo, fam, you just nothing but white trash. It hit different than if I said, yeah, man, and Hank was saying that he called my man white trash. It's a completely different context in which it's being used. And I'm saying that when you listen to Joe Rogan's podcast and you listen to the context that these things are being used in, it's not the same. It don't hit the same. The context makes it completely different.
Check this.
But the definition is still the same, right? I
No.
mean, it is what it is.
No.
You don't.
Okay. But Hank, you don't like the word being used, right?
Yes.
Would you hold a black person accountable in the same way that you would hold a white person accountable in using it?
Yes.
I don't believe that, Hank. I believe if you've seen a white person call a black person that, you would not have the same energy as if you've seen a black person.
No, let me
I
say,
just said it 5 minutes ago, and you didn't hold me accountable.
What extent? I didn't agree with you, but I just didn't say anything. I'll let you rock out. But would it sting a little bit more? Yeah, you're right. It would sting a little bit more, at white boy said, compared to my people said. You're right. But I'm just not a fan of it. So I don't use it. So it's just me though, man.
You leaning on the idea that the definition is the definition doesn't it changes when you listen to who's saying it, why they saying it, what they're emphasizing when they're saying it. It hit different.
How they saying it?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I grew up and played football, baseball with dudes like Joe Rogan. You know, they legit in their hearts don't think they're racist. However, they live in two different worlds. They live in a white world over here where people around them and some people in their family may drop that word or have certain opinions about black people. Then they go to football practice or they go to school and they hang out with the black kids and they cool and they listen to rap music and they bop with them. Joe Rogan thought he could bring those two worlds together, and it's never possible for a white person. Like once a white person steps out and stops giving you the ER version of the world frequently, they've kind of made their choice of what world they want to live in, man. So do I think Joe Rogan is going to burn a cross on anybody's lawn anytime soon? Absolutely not. I think Joe Rogan is just kind of dumb enough to like let it come out and then, oh shit, you know, like, oh, did I really say that? And then now he got to catch hell. And I think this comes back to the context of the word. Like, I know when somebody says to me, oh, my nigga, what's up? And, you know, nigga, what is your problem? Even what I'm using, I use that word 2 times in a row and it had 2 completely different intents and meanings. So for me to hold Joe Rogan accountable for saying that, I'm holding him accountable for his stupidity, not his racism. You know what I mean? I'm holding him accountable for being tone deaf and dumb enough to believe that that word could come out of his mouth in discourse and it not have long-term consequences.
I think you're looking at it wrong. I think that you're not giving him enough credit for being polarizing enough to continue to make himself as popular as he's becoming as a result of us talking about the fact that he's using the word. I think he's smart. I don't think that he's dumb and tone deaf. I think it's intentional.
Well, it's easy to be, to be that way in time when Spotify has decided to back you up. So now you can kind of speak with a little more confidence and you can speak in an apologetic tone without apologizing.
All of the clips was before he got on Spotify.
Right. Well, that's what I'm saying. So he doesn't necessarily have to take a position of complete apology. You know what I mean? He doesn't have to bend his knee and beg our forgiveness. He can package it in a way and say, well, what I'm saying is definitely irresponsible. And now that I've seen the clip, it's definitely bad, but I want to be the tool for more conversations, bring more professionals on who can, explain to me why what I say is wrong. He didn't necessarily say, I'm going to do my best to make sure I don't say wrong things. He's just saying, I'm going to bring more people on who will correct me more often. So I think that his audience really is what carries him through these controversies because his audience are of a certain ideal, and his audience are, are people that even just described where, they might have had some black friends on the baseball team, but when it was just them and they white friends, they was a completely different person. So, those are the kind of people who like Joe Rogan, who want to hear some outrageous misinformation about the health pandemic that's going on right
He
now,
thought he
or
had
they
a
may
hood
want to hear
pass.
ignorant
That's
things.
what
You
it
know what I
is.
mean?
He
Yeah.
thought he had a hood pass. Some white boys, when they be around black dudes too long, think they got a hood pass to kind of say and move as we do. And a lot of times that pass is actually warranted, given that your character and your past behavior makes us comfortable with us issuing that pass. My problem is that, he thought he had it, but unfortunately, your hood pass only worked in the hood. If you understand what I'm saying,
I don't think
when
he figured that out.
you're working for or partner with a large corporation, that hood pass, like he had he spent time with Dave Chappelle, a lot of these black comedians or whatever. So that word got thrown around a lot and thrown a lot around him. So their comfort level with him hearing that word, you know what I'm saying, probably emboldened him to think he could say it in certain mixed company and think it was okay. But again, that pass does not go into the corporate world at all. You can feel how you feel about that word, but in this time frame, in the era we live in, if you are a white person and you work for somebody, that word can't come out your mouth. Period.
I don't think so, Avon. Listen.
I don't agree.
In 5 years, when the Lapeef Network becomes the biggest network in the world, and I truly believe that network is going to be the biggest network in the world, right?
Dream big, baby. Dream big.
In 5 years, they're going to go back to 2021, 2020, and 2022, and they're going to say, they're going to make
Anton was wilding.
they're going to make a clip, right? I know this already. I'm already up on the fact that they're going to make a clip and they're going to say, Anton said, F your feelings. He said he would punch black women in the titties. Like, they're going to do the whole compilation, bro.
And it's gonna be one of your homies to put it out too.
Yeah.
They're gonna do the whole compilation. That's just
put that together,
bro. It just comes with it. It comes with it.
Honestly, I don't think that it's about a hood pass. I truly think, if anything, the message I got from this is that I'm not going to say all white people, but at least talking to white people living in a primarily white town, or, even going to New York and talking to the white people there, or like, playing video games with them across the, country. I think the conversation, like, they truly still want to have the conversation around the N-word. They want to talk about it. They don't understand it. They don't understand why we feel some type of way. They don't understand why we hold to them the same like degree that back in the day. Like, they want to have a conversation. I don't think he said it from a hood pass situation. I think he's saying, like, he wants to start a conversation around this word. He wants to understand why we can't even say it even in a scientific or intellectual way, that you're going to get offended regardless of any context that we say it. Like, it has, you know what I mean? Like, context doesn't matter when we say it. And that's like that's their question I think they're going to ask us in the next couple of years when we're talking about this. And I truly think that they still want to have this conversation overall. They all want to know why we can't say it in any context, in any form, in any matter. It doesn't matter if we're just saying to you, like, okay, I can understand you don't want to say it to you, like, like I'm your buddy, or like say it like I'm thinking I'm cool with you because I don't have that pass. But if we're trying to even say it in a debate, a scientific way, whatever it is, we can't even say that without trying to almost get canceled, or y'all getting offended or feeling some type of way about it. That's the conversation I truly believe that most white people want to have with us when it comes to this word. I think even maybe other cultures like Asian or Hispanic people probably want to have this conversation. But I think white people on the forefront, because they get so much heat for it, because they caused their own heat 50 years ago, which is,
How
it is
hard
what it
is it
is.
to not just say it though, bro? Have you ever just asked, like for me, my thing is, it's like, bro, like when white people say that to me, why can't I say it? I'm like, why do you want to say it? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, why are you so thirsty to say it, bro?
I mean, usually with somebody trying to hold you back from something,
and here's another thing,
they
right?
want to do it more.
And here's another thing, right?
What am I not supposed to
They don't ask that question when it comes to derogatory terms about anybody else but us. You know what I'm saying? Like,
no, a bunch of stuff that we not supposed to.
I've never had a white person, I've never heard in my life a white person asking a Jewish person why they can't use insert Jewish slur here. You know what I'm saying? Because here's the thing.
We got hip hop music
Never
to
see
thank for
that.
that. We
I
got
was
hip
gonna
hop.
say, you,
There are
Ava, you
clear
already know
consequences.
it's a difference because
There
we
are
say it amongst
clear
ourselves.
consequences.
We use it in a term of endearment. We use it in popular
Right.
culture. We use it in music. Rap is probably the biggest music worldwide. Like we run shit and we say nigga all day, left and right,
I
with
actually
no
like the
remorse.
word,
And the
quite
way we
frankly.
say it, and like I said, we say it in a term of endearment because we flip
What?
it in amongst ourselves. We like that's
I
my
actually
nigga, that's my
low-key
bro,
like the
that's my
word.
brother, that's I would die for that black man over there when the way we feel, we like my nigga. So like when they hear us say it and they want to get on board, they're trying to understand why we can't say it because we're not trying to say it that way. But in our brains, we don't care how you trying to say it because that's how we feel. We feel that you're trying to say it that way.
I got you, Avon. I got the perfect thing for you. You ready?
Okay. Yes.
You sure?
Yes.
Avon has been around since the basic inception of the Lapeef Network.
Yes, yes, indeed.
Right?
Yeah, my girl is upset, bro. She made me out the group, man. She like, get out of the group. Get out of the group.
Right? So here's the thing, though. Women used to come at your head, right?
Still do.
No, but just very early, right? Here's the key, though. Did it stop you from saying any of the perceived from a woman's perspective egregious things? They be like, from their perspective, they're like, yo, Avon, why would you even want to say that in the first place? And you'd be like, well, I mean, because it don't make it any less true. You could have not said it. Why did you say it, Avon?
Well, here's okay. I think it's a situation where if I'm saying, let's see, I'm trying to dig up one of my controversial views, I guess. Okay, we shouldn't date women with kids because it's a bad thing, and people jumping down my neck like, oh my God. Or is it a specific word?
We shouldn't date these hoes for the streets.
Right, exactly. So
say we don't date women with kids. You say, yo, these hoes is for the streets, and why should I bust down when it's easy? You say you do it, right?
And I still agree.
Let's be real.
Right. But it's a difference between, I guess, levels of language. And there's certain words in our English language that they shouldn't, maybe be said by certain people or whatever, right? There's certain words you shouldn't say around kids or whatever. But for me, no white person has ever pressed me to say that word except people who I have very big question marks about their intent. You know what I mean? Like the white people around me.
And then they thought you hated women as a result of saying.
But what I'm saying is it's intent, bro. Like if, with Joe Rogan or whatever, like.
Is it any different?
I'm sorry?
How is it any different is my point.
It's definitely different because it's an entire race. We're describing a behavior with hope.
Listen, it's more women.
You know what I'm saying?
We want to segment it. It's more women than it is black people.
It's true. It's true.
This ties in really well to our other topic.
What black man in this room right now, in this group right now, has ever had a white person press you on it, but you will be comfortable hiring that person up to run your business? You know what I'm saying? I can't think of one white dude that's ever pressed me to use that word that I didn't think had horrible character. Ever. You know what I mean? Ever.
Wait, frame the question again. Say it one more time.
What I'm saying is that I have never met a white person who has pressed me to use that word that I was like, yeah, they're still cool. You know what I'm saying? They weren't even cool from jump most of the time. It's usually a coworker. There's nobody I usually kick it in a social circle. So anybody who's been pressed, most black people who've been pressed for that, it's been from a coworker or somebody you deal with in person who you knew they was that way anyway. You know what I'm saying? Like I have never had some cool ass dude. What can I say, bro?
But that's my point, though.
They don't want to add that drama to the conversation. You know
that's what I'm saying? The point, though, right? You can say, listen, I believe in holding people accountable. I have no problem with that whatsoever. I believe that nobody is above reproach. The thing that I have a problem with is cancel culture. Because even if a dude uses a word or a chick use a word or whatever, use a word, you know instinctively of whether or not they meant malice or it was something like that, right?
Right. And I
Like,
don't, that's what
we was so easily able to call the women out in the Facebook group is because they know that you don't hate women.
right.
You
And
know what I'm saying?
that's where we're going to meet in the middle. Like, I don't think Joe Rogan, like I said, I don't think Joe Rogan is burning crosses on anybody's lawn anytime soon. I just think that he felt too comfortable in a certain social situation, and now it's going to come back to hurt him. Is it going to derail him? No. But he's going to have, like you said, if in 5 years when I'm on here doing this thing with y'all, something is going to come up out of that Facebook group. Be like, look at this ignorant MF here. And I'm gonna have to just sit there and take my L because I typed it into Facebook and I did it. I did it, fam. So like I get it, but the idea of this word not having the nuclear power that it does, and we should just casually allow other people to just use it and just take it. I'm not there. I'm just not there because I've grown up in an environment where I've heard the ER and malice, and I know how it feels. You know what I mean? So it's like, to the life of me, I don't understand the character of someone who is white, or if that for any other race that matter other than black, who's pressing to use the word. You slip up and you say it when you're listening to Young Berg or whoever the hell you're listening to, fine. You messed up, I'll let that ride. But when it's like, I really need to say this word, bro, or you know what I'm saying, and I need justice to be able to say this word, that person is not healthy. That's not healthy, bro. That's not coming from a good place, man.
Well, y'all are watching the Lapeef Network with Lapeef Sports. Shout out to the panel. Shout out to Tej Henley, the sponsor. This actually ties in really well with another topic with the New York City mayor, Eric Adams, where I don't know if y'all have seen the video or not, but it looked like he was at a private event. It looked like he also was really comfortable and must have just forgot that people were recording him. And he got up on there and pretty much said that during his time with the NYPD that he was holding it down. You know, I guess we could say it that way. I don't want to misquote him, but for the most part, I think if I can pull it up here, he was at a, let me see if I have the exact quote. JR, I don't know if you might have that, but essentially he was saying that, you know, with his white colleagues, he was on their asses. And, you know, he was really just trying to make sure that everyone knew who he was, what he represented as he was getting promoted through the ranks to what he is today. And he wants everyone to know that the kind of guy he is today is the same guy he was as NYPD. But the language that he used was pretty colorful. And given that he's the mayor of the city and not necessarily a mayor of some small town, you know, it seems like he's kind of going through some controversy himself, where people are saying that he should have known better. You know, calling people crackers isn't the way to go necessarily. So, you know, what do y'all think? You know, how does that compare with what Joe Rogan is going through? Are they apples and oranges? Or, you know, what do you guys think?
Didn't he just get to New York? I mean, did not get there, but didn't he just get elected?
He's freshly elected as their mayor.
So I want to ask y'all: is that video an old video, or is that something he did as mayor? Title.
If it's new, then he was mayor. Oh, you talking about the Hank? You muted.
The video itself is from 2019, so he just
I thought you say it's 2019,
so it's a couple years old.
Yeah, so they keep once you move up or you in the spotlight, they go back and start digging, right?
Same thing I just described. That's gonna happen to me and Avon. So,
I mean, see the thing about it, yo, the way I move is if I don't want somebody to approach me or speak to me in a certain manner, I don't do it to them. You know what I mean? So, for instance, you know, you have people that talk about their sex life, the opposite sex. I don't speak about that publicly because I don't want to hear about that. You know what I mean? So it's the same thing with the commentary. If I don't want to be addressed like that, or for somebody to feel comfortable enough to say that around me, I don't say it around them. I don't get comfortable around them with that.
You might have had a few drinks in them, man. And not to totally derail the conversation, but I'm pretty sure people could see me cracking up in the background. That word, man, on some levels, I think one place that all people of all races can agree is there's some funny ass racial slurs. Like there's one, like every
be
group
careful now.
that is hilarious. Now I'm gonna just throw you out one that just messed me up a couple
Be
years
careful
ago.
how you
Look, I'm not even gonna say the word, but I'm just going. You'll know what I mean. So one of my former brother-in-laws from Texas, and y'all a little different down there in Texas because I've heard things. Anyway, we were gonna go get Chinese food. He didn't want to go get Chinese food. He used I don't want that G food, and there's a G word for Asians that you rarely hear anymore. Think Vietnam. So it's almost was like, wow, he brought out a vintage slur. You know what I'm saying? So there's like certain slurs or whatever.
Y'all ever watch Full Metal Jacket? If y'all watch the tune, they said it during the war.
Yeah, bro. And it's just, I think sometimes with this conversation we get.
Hey, put it in the back chat, huh?
Okay, I got you. But
Put it in the back chat.
Yeah,
So when I hear those words like that come out from a mayor, I think there are some slurs that we know it's wrong, but they get passes sometimes because it's kind of funny, or especially older black people. Like, man, older black people ain't got no filter, bro. You know what I mean? Like the boomers and the greatest generation, I've heard things come out of their mouth.
You talking about Clint Eastwood and them? Clint Eastwood,
yeah,
that's
exactly.
one of his words.
So this man is 61 years old.
And that Clint Eastwood's movie. Yeah, I know what you're talking
about.
I want to say they had that in the trailer. Him saying that word or something like that.
Right.
So it was
y'all don't hold y'all people accountable when they be at the kitchen table saying some of the most egregious things about other races that y'all have never seen in your life. Y'all ain't holding them accountable. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no. Here's the thing, man. If from my travels, it seems like Chicago, New York, and Boston have a similar racial integration pattern, if you would say. And I kind of would understand why he would be comfortable saying it and why the people around him probably wouldn't be upset. Because I think a lot of these northern racism looks different than southern racism. And especially in what I call male groups growing up, if you went to school and it was half black, half white, black boys was throwing the words at the white dudes, and like you get a certain comfort level, you know what I mean, with using certain words or being in certain racial situations that people from the outside in may be like, I don't know about that. Anybody that went to Catholic school understands this. If you went to Catholic school in the upper Midwest or on the East Coast, you understand why he was able to say that. You think nobody was going to snap.
Xbox Live know what it's really like out here, bro. Plays PS, any live platform, we know what it's really like.
Right. Play some 2K and you'll get everything you're looking for. So
play some shooters. Play some
2K, Call of Duty. I mean, even
right.
I think like 5-10 years ago, back in the old Call of Duty, it was worse, way worse.
Bro, but I think
Anton, I've been around since Xbox Live's inception. It was way worse.
Way worse.
You talking about Halo?
And imagine
Halo, Call of Duty.
Then they lose your boy. What's your boy from? God, what's your boy from Illinois that was playing for the Heat? Myers Leonard. They lost him. The one magic came out. His word. We can't. I googled him the other day.
Hey, he got canceled.
Find no information on him. I was like, where's he at, bro?
They wiped him from the internet.
We're careful now because we can figure out who you are. We know your screen name. We can find out where you live. The whole 9 yards. Back then, we didn't know what we didn't know. The online was the wild, wild west, and these little kids and grown men had no problem calling you exactly what they thought you was immediately.
Little English 13-year-old man just going at you. I'm on the other side of the controller, like.
And they is hitting you with the hard R. They don't care. They don't say the they don't act like they're your friend. They is hard R you to the grave. Because if you beat them, they like that's why your dad left. They hitting everything. Like they don't care, bro. It's funny.
Yeah, I think the biggest issue is that overall black people in general, we're just too damn sensitive, man. Like we will take anything and try and catch a white person in a gotcha moment, when the reality is internally we have so many issues that we just gloss over, overlook, especially when it comes to the crime. See, on my channel, I specifically cover crime in the inner cities, all across America. And the majority of the perpetrators of a lot of these violent crimes are African-American men. So I think the biggest issue is that we're trying to go over here and try and catch this white person in a gotcha moment, try and catch it. And we forget the sticks and stones rule. Whereas when we're over here robbing, stealing, killing, then we just overlook it. It's like it's not even a story. And the reason why I know it's not a story is because even with the Mayor Eric Adams situation, he said cracker and whatnot.
Yeah.
And oh, my bad.
Well,
Well,
he said it might be okay. That's okay, right?
I don't even, the definition. I saw it in the comments. I'm
protein
going to cut you off, Black Jen.
That's what I
But
use now,
the
bro.
definition of that is it's the sound that the whip made as it hit your back. That's what that's what that word is from.
right.
So I don't know what was said in the comments earlier, but the origins of that word is that's the sound the whip made as it came across your neck.
Right.
So and they didn't
Go
want
watch
them
Django.
to come get you.
It's still a
12
derogatory
years a
term.
slave.
I'm with you. I'm just
It's
letting
still
you
a
know.
derogatory term toward, it's the equivalent of the N-word toward white people. If you go to Miami in Broward County, which I just left a couple weeks ago, black people are still calling white people cracker to their face, to the police,
It's the
to
country, bro.
anybody.
That's true. No, that's true.
Hey, dang on, George Jefferson used to call him. He's the only man I know in New York to get away with it.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. Like, I'm not even mad at it. It doesn't make me feel any type of way. But the fact that we're in such an uproar and an outrage, especially when it comes to Joe Rogan, when he is a comedian, he's literally a comedian. So along with the podcast and all that other stuff, look, like I'm 26 years old. As you can see, my name's Black Gen Z Mindset. I'm Generation Z. Bro, when you go to the club, all the white people are saying the N-word. Yo, my nigga, what's good? Da, 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 da. If I had to fight every white person that said the N-word, I would be in prison right now.
No, I mean, all you got to do is go to the concert and they get to that part where they turn the music off. The whole place say the word. Every last person in there say it.
Right. So it's like, I just think we are way too damn sensitive. Like, of course, say, okay, yeah, you shouldn't be saying the word and whatnot. But to go on this tirade and try and spam his accounts and try and get him taken off of Spotify and all that kind of stuff. Overall, his podcast has done more good than bad, especially when it comes to the information and the people that he has on the podcast, and the information that he puts out.
Okay.
But do you think that's black people? Really?
I
Is
was
that
just
really
gonna
black
say, I don't know
folks
that
calling
many
for his
black people
cancellation?
just like-
I don't think it is. I think that's the powers
That's
that be.
corporation.
Yeah, some of that is
That's
some feminine
corporation.
corporation.
Look at
energy.
India
Yeah,
Irie. Look at India
that's
Irie.
exactly. That's
Now,
corporations and India Irie.
no,
That's
see,
it.
when they started calling for his cancellation, it started off with the CV. It started off with the beer bug. It started off by him bringing on people who were against the procedure, against the injection. That's what the outrage started off with. And then they go back into his catalog and find the clips of him saying the N-word over 20 times. See, it started off with the COVID stuff. And then,
Hey, don't say that word.
Yeah, my bad. The beer bug stuff. Then it transitioned to this when India Irie took her music off of Spotify. And then they're like, okay, now the black people are going to jump on, and then we're going to add to the cancellation as well. So some of it is the powers that be, the corporate, when it comes to the CV. But when it comes to the N-word, that clip has been out for years. Those clips, even the compilation, has been out for years. I saw that compilation like 5 years ago, before he even got the Spotify deal. So
Yeah, and it's over a course of years too. It's not like he does
right.
that every show.
It's
You
not
know,
like
it's
he
a bunch
said
of
it
videos.
20 times on one podcast.
Right.
It's a conglomeration of clips of him saying the N-word out of context. And that's really what it is. Like, it wasn't like he was calling anybody the N-word. Obviously, he was using the hard R, and you can have a conversation about it. But to me, it's just not even worth cancellation. It's not even worth going out and protesting and doing all this stuff when we have bigger issues.
Let me ask you a question, bro. Do you let white people say it to you?
So I play football. I play all types of sports.
You from Florida, right? Too. I play with a lot of dudes from Florida.
Yeah. So like when you're in the context of a brotherhood, a sport, and all that kind of stuff, most dudes are not gonna say it in general. Okay. But when you go out to a bar or a club and then there's a drunk white boy and he's like, yo, man, whatever. I'm like, yo, chill. Yeah, I mean, don't be calling me that, but we could still have a good time. I'm not gonna brush it. I'm not gonna brush him off and be like, oh, well, you're racist because you said, yo, what's good, my N-word, da 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 da. Like, in my generation, it's not that deep. Seriously.
All right, that's cool. I guess I'm just from a different generation. I just don't routinely have white people using that word in my presence, and they think it's okay.
I mean, it's not routine. Like,
it just doesn't happen to me, bro.
It's not routine, but at the same time, if you're going out to a club, which I go out to club like every weekend.
So it ain't happening.
Well, I go out every weekend, and there's majority of the people in the club usually are white dudes in certain bars that you go into, and it's not like they just gonna come, hey, you can't be in here, da da da. They're embracing you. Hey, let me buy you a drink. You singing the songs. There's hip hop music going on, so it's not like I'm just like, oh yeah, call me the N-word. No, it's like I'm not going to be like, yo, F you, I'm gonna fight you because you called me the N-word. Like, especially if I know that they did not they weren't using it with malice intent.
I mean, Gen Z, I'm not gonna pretend that I'm not with you. Okay. I went to a Big Ten university, I went to a Catholic all-boy high school in the Chicagoland area. So I know what you're saying, but why is it that that's where they want to meet us? A drunk white dude running the bar and see me, and he want to give me a hug because this is somebody I used to know. Why is his intro, oh, Kyle, what up, my nigga? What's going on? Like, nah,
because as a community, we've created confusion. We've created confusion and have normalized the word where it's in every single hip hop song. We say it to each other ad nauseum. Like, so we've created confusion, and we use the word around other white people. We will call each other that around other white people. I don't say the N-word around
we'll
white
call
people.
White people that word.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Like,
that N-word over there.
You don't hear Jewish people calling themselves whatever
Exactly.
Miles Turner or Leonard
we're the
said,
only one
or
who
whatever. Like, even if they did say it, it would be only when they're by themselves.
Or they're messing
around
around playing with each other. We're the only ones who have used a derogatory racial slur and have turned it to a term of endearment. So I'm not justifying the word. I'm not saying that, oh, we should just let them say it and all this kind of stuff. I'm just saying we have created so much confusion that the lines are blurred, and the younger generations.
What's confusing about it? Because I'm gonna tell you like this. I'm not confused about what magic words I can and can't say about certain groups and certain letter organizations of backgrounds in public without having my finances ruined. You understand what I'm saying? Like, I cannot on this broadcast right now start talking about the alphabet mafia. That's gonna go left. You know what I'm saying? I talk about
it all. I do it.
I don't agree.
But here's the thing, right? If I ever intend to work W2 ever again, I cannot do that.
Today, anyway.
You cannot do that, bro.
If the LGBT
it's just not true.
If the LGBT community started coming out with popular hit, let's just use Lil Nas for whatever, and he just starts dropping the F word, the G word, all type of LGBTQ slur words in his music, and somehow he normalizes to make it seem cool in the next 5 to 10 years, and then everybody starts saying it or start trying to call gay people this and gay people that. LGBTQ people don't look at it confusing why everyone's saying it, because you made it so popular and it seems cool now, or it seems like it's probably not what it was, and now it seems like it's like the trend and hippie word to say, especially when you're around those people. And like I said, it's not even just hip hop. We literally say it around them day to day to their face, to each other in context. It don't matter what it is. I hear people just say nigga just to say nigga anytime they can say it, any type of context. If they're talking about a random guy, like I could be talking to a coworker, but like, yeah, that nigga over there, like he's drunk as hell, and we could just be. I'm not even talking to him about me. I'm talking about somebody else. We just say it with no remorse, no thought process. We just say it, and then at some point, they're like I said, if they want a conversation, is why they can't say it in any context.
Me,
It's
I
not
said
even
that
about.
And then the small pushback, Avon, is the regional area. Like I'm from Bronx, New York. Dominicans, Puerto Ricans, like we grew up together. You know what I mean? As family. They said the word. I had no problem with it. You know what I'm
Well,
saying?
they're from the
But
diaspora. I'm not gonna get my feelings about that. I consider
What?
people from. They're
What?
from the diaspora. Dominicans didn't
right,
get
right,
here
right,
there
right, right.
magically, dog. Somebody brought them here,
But
No,
here's the
but
flip. But
and
here's the
they're
flip
black.
side. Then I came to school in the South. All black college in the South, and then I mixed that crowd, my friends from the Bronx, with the South, and they hear them saying that, and they're looking at them like yo, that's cool. And to me, I'm thinking it, but depending on the region you at, they looking at you like, yo, why are you saying that word? You know what I mean?
Whether you go into California or you live in New York, you're gonna get two different perspectives. You grew up in Brooklyn or Bronx as a white man, and all your friends is black or Hispanic, and everybody's just saying nigga. And then you go to California where it's progressive and whatever, and you try to call black people nigga there or white people nigga there, and you're a white guy. It's like
my thing is, if blacks and Mexicans are warring in the prisons, warring in the streets, then why are we giving them a pass? And you said they were brought here. No, they immigrated here. They chose to come here.
Wait. Who chose to come?
Mexicans.
No, I said the reason why I don't get out of pocket or get in my feelings if somebody of a Dominican or Puerto Rican or something like that background uses the word.
What about Mexican?
They are black. Mexicans ain't black, bro.
So if a Mexican said the N-word, you would be tight about it.
There was no slavery in Mexico, therefore there's no black people there, sir.
There's slavery right now in Mexico. The cartels are enslaving their own people.
I mean, Black Gen Z, to give you some context, Jennifer Lopez had, back when she was messing with Ja Rule and Murder Inc. and them in the 2000s, she had 2 songs where she said the N-word, caught crazy backlash, and she has not done it again. And I'm pretty sure she's Latino descent. Fat Joe and the Terror Squad and them, they would say it in their raps. It wasn't always okay for them to be doing that. Big Pun, we had a bunch of love for our Latino rappers, but it wasn't necessarily something that we was like, oh yeah, make sure you put that in there too. And even to this day,
they're still saying it though.
Right. But I mean, I was actually going to interject, earlier, black culture and black people, it is the easiest culture to appropriate. It is the easiest culture to take from and use as your own thing without very much backlash because of the lack of influence that black people have when it comes to this whole cancel culture. Cancel culture is really more of a feminine thing, it's really driven by women and by corporations. Black males really don't necessarily participate nationally in cancel culture. However, because of that reason, we really don't necessarily defend when other cultures come in. We might not like it at an individual level, or when we get together like this and say, we really don't like it when Asians in California or Latinos in
but nobody's
California
stepping to
or
them,
whatever
though.
it is. Well, I mean, when you talk about nobody, that's my entire point. The black community as a collective isn't even necessarily unified on this point. So it's not like we can then collectively step to the Latino community and tell them to stop. Add that to the fact that hip hop culture is so spread within corporations to
and that's
everyone.
The confusion that I'm talking about.
I know, but we can't then also step in and do anything about it because we're not even unified.
It's not about confusion, it's about power. They want to know why they don't have the power to say it. They're not confused at all about what that word means and why they can and can't say it. They're not confused.
I'm not saying that they're confused
about it. They know exactly what that word means. It's just they want to have the authority to use it without recourse.
I'm not saying
words in our language about people and groups that, for whatever reason, you are not going to say that word out loud in public and be in good standing in American culture. I asked Myers Leonard what magic word he used where he can't go nowhere near a basketball court right now, bro.
Well, I'm not saying that they have confusion over the definition and the historical context of the word. I'm saying they have confusion over the fact that we have normalized it to the point where it's almost impossible for them to sing their favorite song without saying.
You want to be honest with you, bro? We don't know. You're gonna get, you ask 10 black people 10 questions, that same question, you get 10 different answers. We don't know. But just because we don't know, don't mean that you could just come into the party and get to explain it to us too. It's like watching a family have a disagreement on the front porch. If the family's having a disagreement on the front porch, that don't mean bring your ass up them stairs and start swinging too, bro.
Hey man, just don't say it. I take that mindset. That's the mindset I take. I don't even say the word, man. So don't even come with me with that bullshit. Don't come around me, talk to me like that. Don't say it to me.
But you know, most black men say the N-word.
Well, here's the thing.
Well, I'm not most black men, my bro. I'm an individual, so I don't give a shit.
We're talking in generalities, though.
You right, but hey, you can always change your mindset, my man. You can always change your mindset.
I'm not directing this at you individually. I'm talking about in general. We have accepted the word as a term of endearment. Majority of us. Okay. Even if a black dude came up to you today, you're not going to have the same smoke for him if he say, yo, what's good, my nigga? Like, da-da-da-da-da, whatever.
Wait. We accept that term of endearment amongst each other. Your mom can call you your childhood nickname, but Hink can't walk up and call you your childhood nickname. You may be able to walk up to other black people and say, what's up, my nigga, or whatever it is. But you can't walk up to maybe a bunch of gay people and use a gay slur to them. You can't walk up to a bunch of women and say, what's up, all my bees, even though these are words that we all normalize. And we might even say them in our home to each other, to our loved ones or close friends or whatever. But out in public, you can't not that you can't, but it's frowned on, really. People do get tight when you walk up to someone or a group of people into a subculture that you're really not part of. You may want to be, you may genuinely have love for that culture. You may genuinely have, you may want to really be part of it. And you think this is how I get in with them good because this is what they do. But really, you don't do that with other cultures. It's really only black culture where people say, well, y'all do it, so how come I can't do it? Y'all call each other the B word. Why can't I call y'all the B word? Y'all call each other, you know what I mean?
Try to get real in there.
Yes, girl, and all this stuff. Why can't we do that? And so that's really just it's kind of a self-serving response. You think that just because you're you, that you should be able to do and say and participate and jump in and out of cultures as you want to, because those members make it cool. If I'm not part of a fraternity, I can't just jump in and start doing the handshake. Well, y'all do it and I want to be cool like y'all cool. Well, no, this isn't necessarily for you. I have to get over that. I can't tell you to accept me. I have to accept the fact that y'all don't want me doing certain things. And so I'm not necessarily saying that anybody's a bad person. And I'm not necessarily disagreeing with you that we use it so much in music and pop culture. And you know what I mean? It's starting to be put on t-shirts soon enough. So we have definitely added to the confusion. But I don't think that young people are not confused on the controversy. They just want to be able to do it. It's really tied into a larger issue of entitlement from younger people wanting to just participate in every culture. That
younger white people or everybody?
I mean, if we want to be honest, how much culture appropriating do black people do of other people's cultures? You really don't hear, Latino people trying to do, a lot of Asian culture. You really don't hear a lot of Jewish people trying to jump into Latino culture.
Look at Asian doll. Look at Nicki Minaj, Roman Reigns. Look, we have black entertainers who appropriate other cultures all the time.
Like be more specific. Nicki Minaj, like how? Go on, elaborate.
Her alter ego is Roman Reigns. She's not from Rome. She's not from Italy. Asian doll. Cuban doll. She's not Cuban. She's mulatto.
And so you're saying that if the Cubans came out or Asia doll, okay, let's go with Asia doll. So you think that if the Asia community came out together and said, we don't like that her name is Asian doll, you don't think that they would make her change her name? Her name would be changed today.
No, it would not.
Her name was Black Doll, and it was an Asian.
Do you know what's happening in New York City?
That stuff would not happen.
Do you know what happened in New York City? Have you ever heard of the Stop Asian Hate Crime bill?
Yes.
That bill is specifically targeted at Black people committing hate crimes against Asians.
Okay.
Do you know what happened in New York City 2 weeks ago? A homeless Black dude pushed an Asian woman onto the train. His justification was, I'm God. So there are hate crimes going. A couple weeks ago, there was a 54-year-old Asian man who was beat down by another Black man. So, these guys are all being charged with hate crimes. So this Stop Asian Hate bill was specifically targeted to Black people who are committing hate crimes against Asians. Okay, so they can't even defend themselves. Y'all mentioned the affirmative action with Harvard. They had to go through a whole lawsuit. This has been happening for decades, where they've been discriminated against because they've been outperforming
It's a lot
other.
better than
Wait,
German
what you're
shepherds
doing right
and
now?
hoses,
Like,
dog.
see, what you're doing right now?
What?
Wait. What you're doing right now is proving my point. You're proving my point.
Hey,
It's
Black Gen
easy-
Z, I look at it like this. If they got a bill passed, they are defending themselves.
Right,
They doing
and
what they have to do.
But
it's easy to appropriate and to take from and abuse and do whatever you need to do to Black culture. But as soon as you start to victimize other cultures in any way, they get a crime bill immediately after, directed at Black folks, according to your words, to keep us from doing something. So it just goes really back to my original point.
But we're
that
getting bills
while-
passed too. Like the
while I
thing
don't
is,
disagree
people
with
aren't
what
really
you're
messing
saying.
with us on that level, physically.
Say again?
People are not, like, other groups are not messing with us physically on that level.
That doesn't necessarily have anything to do.
They don't have to. They mess with our
appropriation.
pockets. Shit.
How? What white man has stopped you from doing anything that you ever wanted to do in your life?
Well, ask Brian Flores that question, then, my brother.
I want to
Right,
get real.
it-
Want to get real in there real quick.
Yeah,
Go ahead, Rilla.
Go ahead, Rilla.
I'm just curious. I'm listening to the young blood speak, and I'm just really trying to understand more because I'm not confused about who can say nigga and who can't. It's never been confusing. I got sons that are coming up, and I agree with Generation Z when Gen Z said that for your generation, it's not a big deal. You guys are probably the most integrated group of young adults that have ever existed on the face of the planet, right? So at what point do y'all draw the line? What becomes unacceptable where other races can't say or can't do? What can't they do or say around you?
They can't physically assault me.
Okay,
I mean, they can't insult me.
Let me be more specific then, because that's anybody. That's most men, right? They can't physically assault you. As it pertains to your race or what you identify as, what could another group of people outside of your race say or do to you that you would find unacceptable and you would feel that you'd have to step up and defend yourself?
I just go back to
say nigga in certain situations. What I understood you saying is you've been in situations where other people have called you nigga and you was cool with it in certain situations. You didn't necessarily.
I mean, it's not necessarily that I'm cool with it. I told them, yo, you know what I'm saying? We ain't on that type of time. I don't know you like that, but I'm not gonna be like,
right.
Like if a white dude come up to me in the club and say, hey, yo, what's good, my nigga? Let me buy you a drink, whatever,
That's okay.
I'm gonna check them, but I'm not gonna be like, shit, I'm not finna take this.
But you're gonna
drink.
accept that drink though.
Wait, hold on.
But you
Jizzy,
take the drink.
Why not?
I gotta push back. Are you being honest with us when you say you was in a situation where a dude walked up to you on the club and you might have said, hey, fall back, whatever. You said you really checked him where he understood and he hasn't done it since.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Hey, man, you know what we call cats like that, man? We call them.
Wait,
we call them white Negroes.
Hold on.
Sit there and accept.
Here we go.
Sit there and
Here we
accept
go.
the drink.
Here we go.
No, dog.
So you want to go to
sit there.
prison? You want to go to prison over somebody?
No,
calling you
man.
a
Let me finish. Let me finish, my brother. Let me finish. You gonna sit there and accept this drink after this man just call you the N-word and talk about, hey, no, hell no, dog. Say, hey, man, I appreciate that. I'm good, dog.
because
buy one of these other dudes. Buy one of these other Toms a drink. That ain't what I want.
Can I
control
explain
over
a
my
little bit?
emotions.
Because I'm also a young. Hold on.
One at a
Because
time.
Rilla asked
at a
about the young guys, and I'm trying to give him some clarity about how we're thinking. Young guys, especially black men, we are currently viewing how you guys have moved, how you guys have been talked about, how black men have basically been described growing up. Either you're in jail, you're down low, or you ain't ish. So we've done our best to avoid either being in jail, being perceived as ain't shit, or ain't trying to be nowhere close to being perceived as down low. And so what we've done is instead of getting mad at every situation where we can't control how a person is acting or talking, especially if it's not even worth the time, like he's actually trying to pick a fight with me, we don't really give a fuck. Because at the end of the day, if I'm going to pick a fight with this guy, like I said, I never got into a fight in high school because a lot of people wanted to fight me. But in my mind, I'm like, why am I going to get into a fight with a guy for 5 seconds? He's going to fuck up my future. Now I can't actually prove anything because I got into a fight with a guy over a word, or he's talking names, or he's trying to instigate something. Like Nike Black Gen Z said, if the guy came up to him like, "What's good, my nigga? Let me buy you a drink," you'd be like, "Chill." But you can understand that he's trying to be cool with you and he's going to buy you a drink. And regardless, you'd be like, all right, whatever, I'll take the drink and walk away. Or I know him, I'll take the drink and I tell him, don't do that again. I have a friend that's in my close friend group, and he thought he had the audacity to say the N-word. Me and my other boy Slade jumped this nigga. You not about to say the N-word in front of us and think you can still be cool with us, like actually friends with us, where you can hang around us every day, text us, and we're going to have your back, especially if you're a white boy. But if you just a random white boy and you just saying it and it doesn't, you're not trying to pick a fight with me, we don't have time that day to be picking a fight with you either. We got other shit to do in our brains.
But you ain't got to pick a fight. You can also explain to the man. You can educate that man.
Well, hold on.
You ain't got to pick a fight. You can send a message by not accepting the man's drink. That's going to send a bigger message to anything.
Gen Z, we'll give you last word, Gen Z, and then we'll try to get a couple other people in here. But go ahead, Gen Z, get you last word.
I'm just saying, if nobody came at me in a disrespectful manner, I don't give a damn about a word, bro. I'm not one of these emotional dudes who gonna lash out. Oh, he said the N-word. I'm just gonna nut up. Like, there is a context to everything. Okay, I'm from the South. I've been on the street where, you know, somebody might drive by and say the N-word. That's a disrespectful thing. If I'm in the club, everybody's drunk, everybody's sauced up, and then a dude, yo, what's good, man? Whatever. I know that he has no malice in the way that he's approaching me, so I'm not going to go and get offended. How is it disrespectful?
So when that dude, let me ask, I was talking to Anton. Just because he ride by and called me that, and then the dude called me that, saying hello, what's up, ma? That ain't disrespectful. The word is still the word. The definition doesn't change.
Okay?
The definition doesn't change.
All things being
it still
equal,
means the same.
All things being equal, the definition doesn't change. Is it disrespectful when a black man calls you the N-word? Is it disrespectful? Yes. Okay, well, that's you. But majority of people,
I said that.
You said that, okay, and you stand on that. But you're gonna have the same response. You're gonna have the same response to a black man who calls you the N-word as a white man, because it's just the word.
I don't like it, dog.
But are you going to have the same
you
response?
said yourself that you're the minority.
And it could be the case.
You still haven't answered my question. You still have not answered the question.
Calm down, young blood. Calm down, young blood. I'm gonna answer your question.
Well, I mean, you can raise your voice and it's all fine. And then when I raise my
voice,
go ahead,
bro. Go ahead, my brother. Go ahead, my brother. You good? Go ahead. I'm sorry. My bad. You right.
So I'm saying, are you going to have the same response to a white man who calls you the N-word as a black man? Like, if a black man came, yo, what's good, my nigga? I'm gonna buy you a drink. You know what I mean?
But dog, the example you just gave, you gave two white people calling you that. You didn't say one was black, one was white.
No,
you said that. Yes, you did. No, you said a white dude riding down the street in the South called you the N-word. Then you said some white boy came up to you in the club talking about what's up, my N-word, and buying me a drink. What's the damn difference?
Two different scenarios.
Now they both Caucasians.
Two different scenarios. It's two different scenarios in two different contexts.
I'm not accepting neither one of them.
One is okay. So what are you gonna do? Okay, so
as an individual,
you can't do anything about somebody riding by and calling you a name. Okay,
you're right. I can't. But that dude that came up to the club, I can have a conversation.
And I did have a conversation. I checked him. I said, "Hey, yo, we're not on that."
But I wouldn't accept the drink. You accepted the
Hold
drink.
on,
I
hold
wouldn't
on,
have.
hold on.
Because I'm not tied to my emotions on some, oh well, just because he said that means he's a racist guy. And this, no, I'm gonna have a drink, I'm gonna have a conversation with him, and it's gonna lead me to another opportunity. I'm always open for a conversation.
And you could,
I'm
Hey,
always
what
open
my
for a
man said, you can
conversation.
be bought.
let me
You
ask
can be
you a
bought.
How is
question.
that
Can I
being
ask this
bought?
young man a question? I
That
want to
drink.
ask him the one.
Nigga,
The
you
young
gonna
A
man.
bail out
drink
every
is
black?
being
Are you
bought,
gonna
bro. I
help? Are
could
you
buy
gonna
my
bail
own
out
drink.
every black boy that gets into a fight over the N word because you want us to fight over it?
No. Here's the thing. Here,
Are
look.
you
Let
gonna be
me
so
ask
supportive of us to fight this word? Are you gonna bail us out when we go to jail?
Sway, and
Appreciate
Gen
you,
No,
Z.
Gen Z.
you're
Thank you,
not
man.
there.
Sway and Gen Z. Let me ask y'all a question. And I think it's more really Gen Z, but he gone now. So what can I do? Why is a white guy comfortable coming to him and using that word? When men my age, white men don't do that. I don't know if it's an age thing. I don't know if it's the way we carry ourselves. And I think it's distinctly the second part. Bro, I don't have random white men coming up to me offering me drinks, bro.
It's this generation, Avon. That's what I said. I said this generation, they have experienced more integration.
Right.
The school my kids go to, they're in there with Asians, Hispanics.
I grew up in a neighborhood that was 50-50, dog.
I did.
And I'm telling you, bro, I don't randomly until this day, bro. Hey, I'm gonna put it to you this way, bro. I live over off here in Beverly, dog.
Yeah.
So you know I know.
Yeah.
You know I know. And when I go to a bar over on Western, dog, ain't no random white man coming up. What's up, my man? Because he got enough goddamn sense to understand that when he sees me, that's not gonna be a comfortable conversation.
But wait.
So why is he comfortable? My thing
Well,
is,
I think you're getting. Hold on. I think the bigger
Wait.
issue is you're getting a problem with the type of white guy.
Hold on. Let me paint this for Avon though. But if we in Wicker Park, the probability of that happening may increase significantly more than if you in Beverly. If me and you go to Wicker Park right now, and we was to pull up to a bar there and have a drink or whatever, it may increase. I'm not saying it would happen. It may increase significantly more. So what I'm trying to understand is the mindset of some of these young bloods. I'm used to dealing with rough and tumbleweeds, right? This generation, and I think this is the sweet spot where Sway and Gen Z is at. I think that's the sweet spot of where we need to focus our energies and attention to next, because I think they're being overlooked, right? And what I'm seeing is like they're moving off the whole concept of, they may identify as black, they understand that they're black, but they're more or less in a world where it's everybody, you are who you are. Like, I'm looking at how you handle me, how you approach me, what's your conversation with me, how do you treat me as a human being, more so than I identify as black first. So I'm trying to understand that. And this word, where it may be triggering for us, it's just not triggering for them like that. So I'm trying to like do a little bit more understanding with these young bloods, man, because the other thing that concerns me is that if that's the case and that's the path we headed down, then where are we going?
Well, really, let me ask you this, and then Action Jackson, welcome to the show. I want to get you into real as a follow-up. Do you see what the mayor said versus what Joe Rogan said as, or not necessarily what Joe Rogan said, but the controversy around Joe Rogan versus the clip of the mayor? Do you see those as separate issues, or are they kind of the same issue of using slurs or whatnot?
No, I definitely think they're separate issues. But the thing with Joe Rogan, I think you said, somebody on the panel said, by and large, black men don't participate in cancel culture, right? And I said we participate in chin check culture. Black men participate in chin. We don't do cancel culture, right? So this whole notion of canceling Joe Rogan over him using the N-word, this ain't nothing new with Joe Rogan. Like this clip is old, from what I understand. This compilation of him using the N-word 70 times, it's old. So Joe Rogan is Joe Rogan, period. For me personally, it doesn't bother me. I knew this existed before, but they gonna handle dude different. Now, India Ari stance on it, I agree with. If you heard what she said Spotify built its company off the backs of musicians, and they pay us less than pennies on the dollar, and they go take that money that they make to pay this man $100 million. I don't want to fund that. That's her choice. I don't disagree with that. The situation with Eric Adams, as I understand, this was a clip from 2019, I think y'all said. Yeah, I think they're gonna continue to dig up dirt on him. They're gonna, look for ways to discredit him. But before he was a mayor, he was a cop. He was speaking as a cop. I don't see the big issue with what he was saying.
If the only pushback I have with the whole paying him however much money and then they got off the backbones of musicians is like, how many musicians are assigned to a Spotify only contract where that's the only platform that your music is being streamed off of?
That's
Or do they use their music and put it everywhere as big as and vast as they can get paid from?
That's not how it works. If you sign to a record label, the record label is you getting monies on two different ends. You're getting it from the record label, then you get it from publishing if you're a songwriter, right? So and this is what I was saying the other day when I was on Anton's live, is like, how do you even account for the value of a stream or what a stream costs, right? So these artists are upside down on their deals, and they're seeing like we got millions and millions of streams. In their mind, they equate that to record spins, which count for money, right? And they see royalty checks from this, that, and the other. They're looking at Spotify and like, how is it that in the old business model, if I sold a record, I got X amount of percentage. If I went platinum, I got X amount of percentage. If I, achieved this benchmark, I got X amount of percentage in terms of record spins or visibility on the radio, mechanical royalties, and so on and so forth. How am I not seeing the same type of money with Spotify and I got higher visibility? So that's where the pushback where you get with a lot of artists, and which is why Tidal is popular with a lot of artists, because they get paid more from Tidal than any other platform, right? So I don't like, so for what India Ari is saying, part of the pushback from her is also with the record label. It's not just the indie artists. It's not the indie artists going directly to Spotify, and that's the only way they can collect money. Spotify is probably one of the biggest DSPs, one of the biggest platforms, and the artists, they just not getting paid.
Listen, if I understand all that, but the problem with these artists and the way they're thinking is like, you're going through so many funnels and channels, and you expect the end channel to put your music out there to pay you the most. It's like, what you got to understand is, if let's say this, if you're Michael Jackson, right? Wait, I'm hearing an echo. Action Jackson. If you're Michael Jackson, right, and you're under a label, and then your music is being streamed through Spotify, you shouldn't expect to make more money than if you are an independent person, you own your masters, and then you individually sign a contract with Spotify where your music is only streamed on their platform and you're getting full revenue from whatever that platform is bringing in. It's different than if you're working with a label that's paying you front end money to go produce music.
No, well, and I don't want to derail the conversation. Record business is completely different. Record label don't pay you upfront money. They loan you. That's a loan.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They loan you 10 mil, and then you got to make that 10 mil back, and then whatever after that,
so their job is to recoup. So here's the deal, Sway. This is why a lot of artists have a problem with Spotify. Their job is to recoup. They're gonna, and most of these artists now are in 360 deals, but they're gonna recruit from every source, every publisher which is why, like, if you play certain music on YouTube, right, your stream gets compromised and taken down. Why? Because the publishers are collecting money. Right.
Yes.
So if you don't have permission to use their music, they get taken down. So every artist is, listen, if the artists feel like they are, it's not that I look for Spotify to give me, they may not be looking for Spotify to give them the biggest payout. The biggest payout really comes when they go on tour. Right.
Yes.
But if they feel like they're not getting the fair shake, and there's not even a negotiation, they're not even part of the negotiations with Spotify, which brings us back to this point. How much is a stream worth? Who's determining the value of a stream?
Well, that's between the label and Spotify. Because
it's Spotify and Spotify.
It's the label. If it's the label, whoever owns the music, they argue their price on how much they think the value of whatever, and all these labels got to argue this. It's not the individual artist that needs to argue this. If they were individual contractors and they produce their own music, pay for everything upfront out of their own pocket, they marketed themselves, they did everything themselves instead of having a bunch of teams of people market you, pay for stuff, do all this branding of yourself, and then you would still expect to make most of the money.
No,
you're gonna pay in all these people. You're not gonna make as much money as you think because you're paying 50 people.
My books over here.
Let's bring you in action. Let's get you in action. What do you think? In regards to the conversation, You know, is it just that Black folks in general and maybe society is being too sensitive when at this time? You know, are we all just being old heads about it? And it's really maybe a generational gap between the meaning of the word. You know, what do you think? I don't want to make any assumptions about how old you are, but you know, what do you think? Jump on in.
When it comes to the N word, like I'm kind of like more like in agreement of Avon. That's your name, right? Avon.
Yes,
Um,
sir. That's me.
like this, like it's more like of a region thing, like how you mainly would look at the word. Because I mean, I'm from the South. I don't mind saying my age. I'm 36. Oh, and I'm from the South, so like I wouldn't. It's like to me, like it seems like with the young generation, like where's the level of respect gonna come from? Then, like it seems like if you just allow anyone to say anything to you just because like their energy is a little different, like, and they can just say something to you, like where, how are you gonna like see what the level of respect is towards you gonna be? Because you just going out their energy. Like people can give you false energy but still mean something different when they're trying to say something to you or whatever, like at times. So that's kind of like how I look at it with that or whatever. Cause like I don't use the word. I don't like the word. Like I said, maybe it's more of a region thing. Like I said, I'm from the South, so like I don't agree with the word at all being used by someone other than someone that looks like me, and then depend on the context.
So do you think that an intellectual conversation can be had about the N-word with white people? Do you think they should even be participating? Because I mean, you know, if you think about it, that's a word that we were given. We didn't create that word. That ain't nothing that, you know, that's not us. That's just something with that we kind of internalized and then turned into a term of endearment just because of how Black folk communicate with each other. But if you think about it, it's really not a word that we gave ourselves. So is that something that white people now can't participate in when it comes to the use of it or not, or what do you think?
I'ma just still like say like, oh man, they shouldn't just want to use it. Like I don't see why it's just a hard thing like to want to use. I don't see like what the conversation would just be about to want to use the word. Like, cause like if you listening to like I'm more like on Mr. Lee, like on his stance on the word and using the word. Like I'm kind of more in that range. Like it's a word that we need to try to get rid of. And I understand what Sway's saying, like, and the other guy, like how they normalize the word for us, like in the music and how we use the word and different things like that or whatever. But it's like one of those words that we kind of like need to try to abolish and try to get rid of, because you're gonna continue to have this back and forth on like when is they using out of respect or disrespect, or why white people or whoever that's not in the race of being Black want to use the word, or how the word is being used. Like if we just not using the word at all, like it's really not a conversation to be had. Because like we try to because like as Black people, like we always try to turn a negative to a positive. Like that just in us. Like we always just try to do that. But some stuff we just need to leave it as it is, just leave it negative and just try to get rid of it. Like I said, that's more the mindset of me. Like it's really not a conversation not to be had on why they want to use the word or what they need to use the word for. Like we just need to just not be using the word, because in the beginning it was just a negative. Everything about it was negative.
So if they can't use the word, then we need to stop using the word and stop normalizing it.
I just said that.
But are you gonna check your Black friends who say the N-word around you? No. Then you're part of the problem.
It depends.
It depends now.
It depends on. It depends on the. It depends on the situation. Because like that's why I did agree, like what y'all was saying, like the younger generation, like you just can't go around just checking everybody or whatever. That's why I was saying, like, it's kind of like one of those things, like a way to be a part of the solution is not to be a part of it and try to influence in that manner. And then like if you know who you can, in a way, like you was asking me, like someone around me or people around me using the word or whatever. It's some people I can might say that to it, and it's some people I know I'm gonna get a certain type of energy out of it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Somebody be like, you can't tell me what to say or whatever, whatever. But like, it's like one of those things, like you just gotta not do it, and whoever you feel like you can correct it, or like you mentoring somebody younger or whatever, and you can and like point them in the right direction until then or whatever. I mean, I believe that's like one of those things, like that's how you're gonna have to move with this particular word, because it's so big and it's hard to you ain't gonna be able to put that genie light back in the bottle to a certain extent.
And honestly, I think that, I mean, I'm not going to try to speak on all black people because I really don't know what they believe, but this is just my assumption. I think a lot of black people enjoy using the word from the simple fact that we don't allow nobody else to use it. And we enjoy using it every day. We enjoy using it around white people. We enjoy using it whenever to make them feel uncomfortable. We enjoy it just whenever. We just enjoy the word. So to ask a black man, like, don't say that, it's like, I hear you, but like some deep in my heart, I just like enjoy it because I feel some type of way. You know what I mean? And like they're not going to say it regardless.
You
Damn,
libertarian, I
I
want to get you
the
in here
word
too,
is-
bro. I want to get you. I know you didn't walk about 3-4 miles in the back queue, so I want to get you
I
into
was
it.
like,
Got
where is
cardio
this
in,
dude
goddamn.
going, bro?
My man walked the whole
God damn.
marathon, so I want to get him in there. I want to get him in there.
Hey guys, how's it going? Much love. Always love, the panel and the network and everybody. So I'm not a black American, right? But I was raised in Miami. Everybody uses the N word.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And if you ever listen to Jordan Peterson when he talks about the atheists, he says, you may not believe in God, but in your everyday life, you act as if. And that is, I think, analogous to black people saying, I don't want people to say the N word, but in your everyday life, you act the opposite. You don't really care. There was some talk about the old heads. I'm sorry to tell you guys, but the teenagers act the way they do today because the old heads taught them that. I don't think many of the old heads on the panel spend their weekends sitting by the fireplace, sipping brandy and listening to blues and jazz. We know what type of music we like.
Hey,
We're all
wait a
wearing
minute
hoodies.
now.
Hey. Stop the cap. Stop the cap.
Facts.
Okay.
Or when you're in a car.
You're not
Exactly.
listening to clean music. All the hip hop music that you listen to says the N
You ain't
word.
listening to Christian gospel and
Thank you. Thank you. There may be some
it is.
exceptions.
My man got
but...
one record. He got one record. Boy, you don't have that on your iTunes playlist. Stop it.
Let me ask y'all a question.
Oh, but I do.
Are y'all trying to say that we're like the culture has made it to where we're incapable of separating how to speak due to how entertainment impacts us? So you're saying that because I listen to a lot of rap music as a white person, I'm bound, it's inevitable that I walk up to a black person and say, what up, whatever. You're saying that is inevitable.
You're acting like they're just walking up to black people saying it. They're saying it amongst each other. They're using it as a term of endearment with each other. So when they go out into the real world, they're not separating the two. It's the reality.
Yeah. If you want to be equal, you want to be treated as an equal human being, then you cannot be surprised when other human beings that have a different skin color relate to you as equal, right? And then they act accordingly. Oh, amongst black people, which are human beings like me, they say this word. Well, I'm a white person with other white human beings. I can say the word because we're all human beings. You're equal. So there you go.
What about a mixed person?
You're being imitated. You're being celebrated.
We let mixed people say the N-word all the time. Why don't they just say half of it?
Nick.
First of all, you let them people say that.
You do that. You let people say that.
You're the only black person I've ever met who doesn't allow other black people to say the N-word around him.
Bro,
he has a deep voice and a big beard.
Because I am African and y'all ain't not checked me once. I'm African as hell.
He sounds like a very tall man.
On this panel. No one say stop saying that, nigga. Stop. No, y'all haven't checked me once. I'm African.
There's a way you do. When we say check, people always go straight aggressive when you say check. I'm not gonna say I'm not gonna check you. I'm not gonna try to check you. I'm gonna educate you. That's what I'm going to do. I'm
It's
gonna educate.
different.
I'm gonna
It's
educate
different
these
when you
white boys.
educate and when like a very short, Asian man tries to educate me. I'm sorry.
Well, wait.
And that may
So
be
let
the
me ask
case.
y'all another question. The question to Black Z, Sway, Cuban Libertarian, even Action, because I want to be able to get y'all in here. So if no one says anything to correct the behavior, you're saying that they are okay with it, even though Black Gen Z, you said, if somebody walks up to me, I might say, don't say that to me, but I'm also not going to refuse their drink, right? So then where is the real correction at? You know what I'm saying? And then Sway, when you say it, how you say it, what will be an appropriate way to correct you? Because Hink then already said he doesn't really prefer that word. So now is it on you, Sway, to not say it after Hink done already said he's not for it? Or is it on Hink to keep checking you about it and make it into something to get confrontational?
Look,
because somebody
Exactly.
is, it
Now,
seems like
you're
what
talking
you're
to me
saying
as
is
a light
get
skin,
into
and
an
you're talking to
argument.
me. The difference between me, I think, or I guess the tricky things about light skin is that you can either grow up white or you can grow up black, and I think that's true. I think there are a lot of Africans who grow up white and a lot of Africans who grow up black. And the way you hear them talk, the way you hear them move, the way you hear them assimilate themselves amongst black people, you can tell if they really about being with y'all, or you can tell if they really like, I'm just here because I kind of want to see what it feels like. Like, I grew up coming out of a black woman. I grew up in the hood. I grew up in the hood of what I could amongst white people. I grew up in Brooklyn. I grew up in the Bronx. Most of my life has been in an impoverished area amongst black or Hispanic people. And so I assimilate myself amongst black people. I don't consider myself white. I just bring it up as the point because, when we're talking about white people, I mean, I feel like I can give a little bit different perspective since, I'm not as fully racially biased, where I'm just full black and I've never hung around white people, my dad's not white, or been around white families to hear what they talk about or move or whatever it is. Like, I bring that perspective up because I know a lot about what they think, but in the end all be all, I claim myself as black. They claim me as black. They don't think I'm anywhere close as a white person. I say nigga this, I cuss, I'm a little bit more aggressive, I'm tall, whatever it is. Like, they don't think of me as white. No one in the world would ever look me in the face and say you're a white man. Now, I do have a best friend who's 6'8", and his mom is white and his dad is black. His dad is black as hell. And no one I went to his college, no one thought he was a black man because he had a lighter skin than me. He didn't have rough hair, is more straight down. Everyone thought he was a white man or Asian.
And he was saying the N-word, right?
He said the N-word, but he don't say it like me. He says it like it's kind of like he can say it, but you can hear it still, and you're not going to check him for it because he is black and it is what it is. But like, you can always tell when the difference between a African who's been assimilated and grew up in the culture and one that's kind of been outside the culture and is kind of trying to see what it feels like, or they took steps in because they really like being on the white side because it's more comfortable. Whatever.
And I feel you, but I guess my question. Let me say my question.
So I'm going to say it regardless, as long as until we come to as collective that we're going to stop saying it to end it, instead of me saying it in the term of endearment like we say it amongst each other, because I don't really say it amongst white people, and I don't.
It's not gonna happen.
That, and I don't. That's what I'm saying. So I'm going to keep saying it regardless.
Yeah.
But
look,
unless we can come to a consensus where we're on board to not say it at all, I don't know how you're going to hold me accountable when all y'all are saying it.
Remember that?
No. So what I'm saying is, Hink said he doesn't like the word. He don't say the word, and he would rather people not say it around him. Right?
Yeah.
We didn't establish that. So who is it now on? Now that that's been established, is it on you, Sway, to not say it around Hink, or is it on Hink to keep checking you about it? How many times?
No, it's on me. If I'm Hink's friend, if I'm Hink's brother, if I'm Hink's, I'm trying to be friends with him, and for whatever reason he doesn't like the word, then I got to stop saying it.
Okay,
so he's already laid his ground rules.
His boundaries.
He already laid his boundaries, and if I want to respect his boundaries and be his friend, then I got to stop saying it, or he can walk away himself and not be friends with me anymore.
You would be as ridiculous as that rapper that pulled up that white guy to sing the song, and then when the white guy said the N-word at the time of that song, he kind of like chastised him for it in the concert.
He talking about Kendrick Lamar when he brought the white boy on stage. And
that moment, are you prepared to have a lifetime of those moments?
I mean, this is the thing. how you feel about the word, like Hank expressed how he felt about the word. People in his circle have to adjust to that. You know, I mean, he may have people in his
He
circle
don't.
that know
They don't have.
that
He doesn't
know
have to
he
be part of the circle.
I mean,
he has people in his circle that know he doesn't like the word. So if they respect him, they will adjust accordingly to maintain that. They may still say the word in other forums, but around him, they know how he feel about it, so they adjust accordingly. White people shouldn't be saying the word.
Look, man, you cannot do this because it would mean that you lack integrity.
No,
You're
what you're
not.
telling me I
You're
can't
not.
do, I can do, and I've done it. You know what I'm saying?
That's
You're not
that's
able to
fine,
say
but
you're
you're
not
talking
able
out
to
of
say
both
the
sides of your
word.
mouth.
No,
yeah, that's where the confusion comes from. That's where the confusion comes from.
My thing is, you personally, Gen Z, if you feel comfortable or disrespected when the word is said to you, you have to deal with that on your own personal level. Everybody has
Okay.
their subcultures of people that they deal with where it needs to accommodate them. So in your subculture and your people that you hang around, if that's something that's a general consensus that you're fine with them saying that, that's how you live your life. Me, there's gonna be I have my boundaries. Just like
But you
Hank
say it
said,
right,
he
though.
has his boundaries, huh?
But you say it right. You say the N word, and your friends around you say the N word. You don't
I
set
would
boundaries
rather
around other black
I
people who
do
say the N
say
word.
it. I do say it
What the
more
hell,
than
man?
I say it more than I care to, you know, it was just something I grew up with that I'm trying to remove. So I would rather not say the word. However, they
My
have
point.
boundaries.
My point is, there's a time and a place. There's a time and a place. If I go to my grandma's house, right, and I'm saying N word this, N word that, she gonna slap me in my mouth, and she black too. She just as black as me, but she gonna slap me in my mouth. There's a time and a place, okay? But does that mean that she's not gonna feed me? Does that mean that she's not gonna still love me? Does that mean that she's not gonna take me in? No. She's
There's
still going
boundaries.
to say, hey, look, don't say that in my house, but come on, baby, come get a plate. When it comes to me being in a club and a white boy come in and he's not being disrespectful and he say, yo, what's good, my nigga? We just had my nigga by YG playing in the club, and everybody in the club is saying my N-word, this, that, and third. And then he come up to me, yo, what's good, my nigga? Like, let me buy you a drink. Hink said, "Oh, it's selling out."
Okay, wait, hold on.
If you hold on, let me finish.
I'm so
Go ahead,
glad
go
I'm
ahead, go ahead.
42
Hink
years
said,
old.
Hink said it's selling out. Hink said it's selling out if I say, "Hey, bro, you know what I mean? I know the song just went down, but don't come at me like that." And he went, "Oh, okay, my bad, bro. I'm gonna buy you a drink." Cool. It's selling out for me to accept that drink from him. How does that make any sense?
You're gonna be a Buzz Killington all the time, bro. Nobody will hang out with you.
No,
Well, look, okay,
you
so
do what's comfortable for you.
so we're
When
saying
I say
Gen Z.
you, I mean in general, not you specifically. I understand everyone has their own personal boundaries, you know. So I respect that. But
Hey, my
in
man.
general, bro,
Let me
it's
say
not
what I
gonna
need
work.
to say. Hold on, Cuban. First of all, that ain't what you said, dog. What you said was, dude, first thing this dude walked up to you and said, let me buy you a drink. And then you sit there and said you accepted the drink.
That's not what I
For
said.
me, oh, okay,
You
man. Now
just
you're changing the story up.
No,
Look,
I just
I heard what you just said a second ago, but this is what I'm telling you. I wouldn't accept a drink from a man. First of all, I'm gonna educate this dude. Stop calling me the N-word. Don't use that around me. That's what I'm gonna do, because it's me personally. I'm not gonna accept your drink because I'm still disappointed in you first calling me the N-word. First thing first, I'm not gonna accept your drink. I'm gonna walk away and I'm gonna teach a lesson. That lesson is, I'm not gonna accept you calling me that, and I'm not going to accept his drink, because now you think it's okay if I accept your drink. Oh, he's just saying that because he's upset or mad because I said the word. No, dog. Do what?
You corrected
but
him.
Hank,
You told him.
I did correct him, and I'm not going to accept his drink, and I'm moving on.
And
but
the thing
y'all
is,
are
that's
saying
part
the
of me.
same thing.
That's part of my education process.
We're saying the
That's
same thing, Hank, because the young people, we still say, chill, don't say that shit around me, don't do that, don't. We might be like, you know, don't say that because I'm black. If there's someone, if it's
The
not even a
energy is
question,
just
man.
different.
If a white person came up to me, or I'm pretty sure any young black male, and they said, "What's good, my nigga?" The first instinct on our face is to cringe it up and be looking at them like, "Who the fuck is this?" And we're gonna say, like, "Who are you, bro? Like, don't say that shit. Like, we don't know you. We don't fuck with
wanted
you.
to make sure
Whatever
that
it
was
is."
still the function.
Yeah,
That's
but
what
we're
I'm trying
like,
to get at.
we
It's
say,
not like I'm like, oh yes, call me the N-word.
but we're
No,
not
it's
about
like,
to fight
okay.
him either. We're not about to progress it more than that. We're like, bro, I don't know you like that. Don't say that shit, or don't say it at all. Like, who is you? You're white. Chill out. Like, bro, we're not about to start an argument or a fight in the club when everybody's there shit faced or having a good time. Like, that's extra.
No. Who said anything about violence? I didn't say anything about swinging on a young man. I said I'm not going to accept
He's
this.
not going to accept the drink. He's not going to.
I'm not going to accept the drink.
I wouldn't accept the drink.
That's
either.
fine, but
or if I do, I might take it and leave because I just finessed the drink.
Okay, so hold on. So let's bring it back.
That's about it.
I can't have
let's
a
bring it back for a
conversation with
second.
somebody over a drink.
Y'all sound like
Hey guys, before I go, I would
one
like
at
to
a time,
just
y'all. One at a time.
bring up one last point, guys.
Go ahead, Cuban.
And that is the Pavlovian response, guys, that we're getting from the Black American community when something like this happens, when it's clearly an agenda that is being pushed, and then the Black American topics are always used as tools in order to silence or to cancel somebody or to get somebody elected. It's always the same thing. I'm a little bit disappointed that it just keeps happening, where whatever sensitive area Black Americans have, they're used by the powers that be in order to get an agenda or something done. You know what I'm saying? That's the way I see it, because you cannot realistically.
American politics. That's how American
facts.
politics work.
Joe Rogan is not a racist.
When the alphabet community gets upset, they mobilize, they get on people's nerves, and things change. Why is that somehow disturbing for us? Like, why we're not entitled to that?
I mean, he apologized.
That's
Do you
the
accept
point
his
of
apology.
No, I don't. He don't need to apologize to me because I don't think Joe Rogan's a racist. I think he just got caught on tape saying a word he ain't got no business saying. I watched enough Joe Rogan in my life to understand that dude is not going to burn crosses on my lawn anytime soon.
If Joe Rogan came up to you in the club and he said, "Hey, Avon, let me buy you a drink," you'll accept the drink, or is that selling out? Is that
no? For me, okay. Look, this is an individual choice. As long as he doesn't say, "Hey, Avon, here's a drink, my nigga," we ain't got no problem.
And he would never do that. It's not even in his culture, part of his upbringing.
Yeah,
it's all
we've
contextual.
All said things that we ain't got no business saying. What my problem is that when it keep coming out your mouth because you think you have the privilege to say it.
But no, wait, hold on. We have a right. We have a right to say it.
No, why do you want to say
it?
Because of my American balls.
Why do you want to say the A word? Why do you curse at all?
See that right there.
Yeah, I like it because I think
as
someone who's genuine. Okay, but here's what I'm saying. It comes down to intent. So are you telling me as a black man that if you're walking down the street and a white man walks past you and uses the hard ER to you, you don't take offense to that at all, sir?
I'll say F you and keep it moving.
Okay, so why is it that your distaste for the word is above my distaste for the word? You clearly have a distaste for the word. I have a distaste for the word. Your tolerance for it from other people may be different.
He could have said anything disrespectful to me.
Hold on, I didn't cut you off. Your tolerance for the word given to you may be different from mine, but what you're not going to do is judge me for my tolerance level for having a standard of what people are not going to say to me. This is why I said I can't relate, bro, because I don't have random white dudes walking up to me and saying, "What's up, my N-word?" because maybe it's my size, maybe it's the way I carry myself, maybe it's the energy I give off, but that's probably that most 99% of white men are not going to have that conversation with me at all.
Look, guys,
bro.
You can't talk out of both sides of your mouth. If we're in this panel and we have to modulate what we say so the algorithm doesn't kick us out. If we complain that when we say something about Black American women, we also get, canceled, then you cannot, be mad at a man that his job is to talk for 3-4 hours every day, sometimes 6 hours for years. And then he, not even in a bad way, but making a joke or analyzing something uses the N-word. It's like freedom of speech.
Man. I don't have anger towards him. When I see people doing something stupid, I genuinely don't get angry at them. He did something dumb. He didn't do something evil. You understand what I'm saying? There's a difference. There's a difference between doing something
Why is it dumb?
and
Why
doing
is it
How
dumb
is
to
it
say
dumb
that?
though?
Why
It's
is it
How
dumb?
is it dumb?
because in a modern American society, we have magic words that you're just not going to use if you don't.
Yo,
If
that's
you
not
don't,
good.
but okay. But what hey, look, I'm just playing by the rules of the game.
Do you believe in
I'm
First
not
Amendment?
complaining about them. I'm telling you what the rules of the game are, and he was dumb because he knows the rules and he did it anyway. And
But
now
that's the
you
same
want
thing
to
as,
pity
as,
do you
party.
as
have
us here. We know
you
the rules of the game. We're taking a risk talking openly
Clearly,
about
but
all
right,
these
but what I'm
sensitive
but you have
topics.
to take responsibility for what you say, fam.
Did you
You have
watch
to
the
take
clip where he
responsibility.
actually used the
Yes,
word?
yes,
Or
I
did you just see the
did.
compilation?
No, I've seen, bro. I've been watching Joe Rogan for 3 years. Trust me, I've seen the compilations. I've seen the clips. I watched the show. I know.
And when
Joe
you
Rogan,
heard him, when you watched the
okay,
show and you heard him say it, did you turn the podcast off?
No, I did not.
So you sold out because you're
However,
giving him a view. You're giving him a
who
view
said
and
sold
turning.
out, sir? Who said
Hink
sold?
just said
We're
if
talking
you
about the
support a white
reaction
man who
to
said
it.
the N-word.
Look, I said the reaction to it is going to be different for everybody. You, sir, if a white man uses that
You
word,
got a hard on for me, don't you, big brother?
right?
No, I'm just saying.
Right. I
I
don't
think
know.
you're
Like, are you confusing like me and him is two different people. We both got beards and shit, but we do different people, dog. So what I'm telling you is that do I think Joe Rogan is a racist? No. You asked, why did I think he did was dumb? Because there are rules in place. I'm gonna guarantee you right now, there are magic words. There are several magic words that cannot come out of your mouth, and there's a track record of it, and you get hired for a job ever again, sir. Ever.
That's why he apologized. I mean, Joe Rogan did apologize. He did acknowledge that the video is really bad when it looks, when you run it back, he said it one too many times, which is one too many. So, let's not act like he didn't issue a statement apologizing and he didn't issue a statement saying,
because he was
I need to do better.
This
Okay,
happened
well,
years ago. This happened 10
why was he
years
forced
ago.
But why was he forced to?
Because
He
Black
won't mess up
Twitter,
that bag.
Black
Nah, he
Twitter
won't
put
mess
it
up
out
that
there.
money. Come on, man.
Black
Stop
He already
talking,
got the
dog.
contract. He already
Black
got the
Twitter
contract.
does
He
not
signed
have
$100 million.
any impact on
Yeah,
your
but that's a
Okay, now you're
discrepancy.
bugging. Now you're
Also in that
bugging. Now you're
contract, you
bugging. Now you're bugging.
got a clause in that contract too.
Has Spotify come out
Everybody's
and said,
clause
you
in the
know what?
contract.
Yeah,
We
he has
stay with
he has a
Joe.
clause that says that he has the ability to use freedom of expression, freedom of speech. They gave him a very vague contract, so he's able to say whatever the hell. He's able to bring on whatever guest that he wants. They gave him the most lenient contract. Academics also got a similar contract to his.
But I mean,
y'all make it seem like it
wasn't too
ain't no
lenient because he had
consequence for what you
apologized.
do or say.
Well, go ahead, Jeff.
That's
Go
the
ahead.
case. That's the case.
Joe is just a softie, in my opinion. I think he should have stood 10 toes down, but his personality is that of a socialist, or like a soft, like one of these like idealistic people, even though he does have some integrity, So that's why he apologized. But in the context of the culture right now, you cannot apologize, man, because the agenda that's coming down the road, man, is to like enslave everybody, in my opinion. And again, I say I am tired of Black Americans being used as tools for this crazy agenda, man. And I had to go. I love you guys.
Appreciate you,
all right, brother.
All right, man. Have a good one, man.
You too.
Keep running, big brother. Keep running. I'm walking.
It sounds like, man, we ain't like, it's like y'all don't care that people gotta have consequences of what they say or do. Like that's the case. Like the guy that used to own the Clippers, like he should have never had to sell his team. Like he had a private conversation that got recorded. He had to sell his team. He's a billionaire. He earned the right. He
shouldn't have to. He shouldn't have.
What I'm saying is he shouldn't have, but it happened because that's the consequence of saying stuff you shouldn't be saying.
Because he
like
because
y'all
he succumbed to
like
the
it should
because
be
he
like you can say anything, it should be no consequence. Well, that's the case then. Nothing shouldn't have happened to Nick Cannon. Like nothing shouldn't have happened to nobody then. It should never be consequences of none of your actions. You should never have no consequences. You should be able to do whatever you want to do, say whatever you want to say, no consequences. You know what? I can say freedom of speech, no consequences.
I mean, when you own your own
Y'all
platform,
sound
you can
crazy,
do that.
bro.
When you own your own platform, you can do that. It's about controlling the platform.
He owned the Clippers. He was a billionaire.
Yeah, but he also has to answer to other people. There's other people that he has to answer to.
So you
Man,
don't think Joe
billionaires
Rogan
don't
does
have to
either?
answer to nobody.
He does because
Billionaires don't answer to nobody.
he doesn't produce on his own platform. If Joe
I
Rogan
mean,
had JoeRogan.com and all of his podcasts came out of JoeRogan.com, he wouldn't have had to issue an apology at all.
right.
Oh,
But
he
now
didn't have to.
attached.
He chose to.
Yeah,
He chose
He
to
chose
because
to.
he chose to because he succumbed to the political pressure of
Now he came to that bag. He didn't want to mess that bag up.
He's attached to a corporation.
I mean, I don't disagree, but I'm saying if he had his own platform, he could say whatever he wanted.
Do you think Whoopi should have been suspended?
No.
Okay, I agree.
They should have just corrected her, like Hink said, educate her and keep it moving.
I agree.
I'm not with the cancel culture stuff. I mean, she spoke out of ignorance. Obviously, she was wrong, but they could have corrected her and kept it moving.
So then what's the difference? Why is it that Whoopi got suspended and Joe Rogan got support when they both
it's the Joe Rogan experience. The Real does not bring in as much money as Joe Rogan's podcast does.
So it's just money related. It's not nothing to do with you think it's all bottom line. If The View was the #1 rated show on television, you think that Whoopi would have never got suspended?
Well, no, because they're
predominantly
the majority of their viewers are women, so they're going to be more emotional and they're going to be more inclined to put in complaints. Whereas the majority of Joe Rogan's consumers are men, so people have heard those clips back in the day. We're just not that sensitive. The problem is with black men, we're too sensitive.
No, you sensitive. Black men ain't sensitive.
How am I sensitive?
Right.
You said that Black Twitter. You said that Joe Rogan succumbed to political pressure from various entities like Black Twitter. I don't think that black people have any impact on Joe Rogan. I think that is corporations.
I don't even know any black people that listen to Joe Rogan.
Right.
And you just said you listen to Joe Rogan. You just said you listen to Joe Rogan.
Black people as a culture, black folk as a culture don't listen to Joe Rogan like that. Right. We're checking for Power. You know what I mean? I don't watch Power, but black people watch Power. You know what I'm saying? I don't watch Real Housewives, but black folk watch
and there's
Real
more
Housewives.
educating going on Joe Rogan's podcast than any of those stupid shows.
You might believe that, and that's fine.
No, it's not that I believe. It's not that I believe that. It's the reality. There's way more educating going on Joe Rogan's show than Power or any of those dumb shows.
And you guys,
it's not dumb, man.
So now I hate myself because I say that Joe Rogan is more educating than a stupid sitcom that glorifies violence in the black community. That glorifies violence and drug selling in the black community. So y'all would rather black people? No. Can I say something? Can I speak? Y'all would rather black people. So I hate myself because I would rather black people watch an educational show than them watch a show that glorifies murder, violence, and drug dealing in the black community. I hate myself because of that.
Would I love black people more if I watched Real Housewives?
Huh?
No.
I'm asking a question. What's more beneficial, watching a show that's educational or watching a show that perpetuates the negative stereotypes in the black community?
The assumption is that you think all black people are watching that shit.
That's what that was my point. That was my point. That was my point.
My black ass just told you I watch Joe Rogan, but then on the other hand, you telling me every black person is sitting around in their drawers watching Power, dog.
No, that's not what I'm saying. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm responding to what you said. I said that Joe Rogan is more educational than Power or any of those Real Housewives shows. And then you said, do you even like yourself? Do you like black people? Because I don't like
your mouth has been negative about how you approach your own people, bro.
Exactly.
That's not true. No.
So correcting.
If I didn't know you was black, I would have. If I didn't see your picture right now, and know you was black, I would have thought you was a damn white supremacist, dog. Real talk about some of the stuff.
So correcting something that you said. So correcting something that you said.
Got big time Uncle Ruckus energy, dog. And I don't know if
Okay,
you know
that's how you feel.
like real talk. You got big time Uncle Ruckus energy, bro.
That's how you
not
feel.
going to the
No,
ad
what you
hominem.
what you
That's how
were
you
Let's not
feel.
go into hold on.
That's how you feel,
on.
but that's
Bring
your
it down.
emotion. That's your
Bring it
emotion
down, y'all.
speaking because you're not even thinking logically. You're just coming with the ad hominems and trying to name call. You're trying to name call because I'm telling you the truth that Joe Rogan is more beneficial to anybody, more educational than watching Power and The Real Housewives. You know
Jesse,
why
I don't disagree with you on that. You're
there's
right
so
about
much
that.
dysfunction because
Joe
our
Rogan is one of
entertainers
our education.
enable it. You know why white people feel so comfortable with saying the N word? Because every little nigga who
Because you
comes out
accept
with
them
a track.
drinks.
No, it's because every rapper that you have in your playlist is saying it. And guess who are the majority
Not my
consumers?
playlist, boy.
Guess who are the majority consumers of hip hop music? White people.
No,
Oh
you
my
said it. You said
goodness.
it right the first time.
What did you say, Action?
How old are you, Gen Z?
I'm 26 years old.
Nico, what do
You
you
got a
think?
lot of growing up
In
to do, my
regards to the
brother.
conversation,
You
Nico,
got a lot of
I
growing
don't
up
want,
to do
I don't want
because
you to
you're
say
still emotional
necessarily.
about a word. You're
Wait,
still emotional about a
No, I'm
word.
not.
So Nico, let's get
I'm
Nico.
not.
Nico, what do you think? You know what I'm saying? You know, in regards to it, is there an educational conversation that can be had around these topics, maybe for people from outside of the subculture? You know, should somebody like Joe Rogan and Jordan Peterson be sitting together talking about if black is a weird word, if the word nigger is a bad word, or that should be everybody word? You know, what do you think about that?
I definitely think they should not be having the conversation. I think really I don't think I don't think none of them should be having the conversation. And me and Gen Z are the same age, but I don't like other races saying the N word. I live in Chicago in the south suburbs, but I went to school in Chicago, and I had a lot of white classmates, Mexican classmates. They tried to say the N word. I'm like, bruh, you can't say it. Stop trying. Like, I had an incident where one of my Mexican classmates, he tried to say it on the low. Did somebody say the N word? I'm like, bruh, stop trying to say it. So, listening to Gen Z, I honestly don't think it's a way that you can like laugh it off. Like, getting me a drink or trying, playing sports. It ain't no way funny you can say it.
Who
That's
said it was
just
funny?
no. I mean, when you were saying about the drink,
I
he
said
laughed
that
it
I
off.
wouldn't judge him. I wouldn't judge him and think that he's racist just because he said the N-word when we literally have a song
But what
going
I'm
on
saying,
that has the N-word in it 150 times.
what I'm saying is he shouldn't say it at all. He shouldn't be comfortable saying it at all. No matter if you drunk, if you playing, if you for real, you
But
just
the problem
So
is that
we're word
you don't
policing now.
see other communities where they have these derogatory terms and they're promoting and boasting and saying it publicly every
100%.
day.
I agree with you, Sway. 100%.
And when the F word for the gay people was going around and saying it, and everyone thought it was cool, everybody was just saying that shit. As soon as they said it's not cool, they won't saying it. We don't want nobody to say it. General consensus: don't nobody say this shit publicly.
I remember
Also,
when it wasn't. I
says it
remember when
publicly.
it wasn't a problem to say the F word, to say the FAG word back in the like. We used to call each other F word all the time,
Yeah.
and it didn't mean anything. But now, because of social media and the influence of the LGBT community, now they've made it to where okay, only we can say that, and they don't even say it to each other
Why do
as
you want to
that
call
much.
them that word, sir?
But honestly,
Why do you
Huh?
want to call them that word?
It's
No,
not
I'm
about
talking
calling them,
about
it's
we're
about saying
calling
the
each
word
other.
in general.
You're
I'm talking about
complaining about
have you
not
ever played a
having-
sport?
right?
Have you ever played a
You're
sport?
complaining about not having the right to say something derogatory to somebody. Think about what you just said,
Dude, I'm
bruh.
saying it to my
You
homeboys.
upset because you can't use the F word to gay people, bro?
No,
You feel
bro,
a right has been
no.
taken away from you?
You didn't even hear.
Like,
You didn't
seriously?
hear. You're not even listening. I
Hold
said
on,
that
but
it was normalized to say, yo, if I got a homeboy and we're playing a sport and I just cross him up or I run him over on the football field and I say, ha ha ha, hey, you a F word. It was normal for us to talk crap about each other and be able to say whatever we wanted to say to each other. And then we'll go to the locker room, laugh it off, and then keep it moving. You're not even listening to what I'm saying. I'm not saying that I would say that to an LGBT person. I'm saying that they made it so you can't even say it at all, even to your friends, like, oh, you're such an F word. Oh, you're this, you're that. Like, y'all act like you don't talk crap to your friends and use all types of words, all types of language.
Yeah,
like,
but
it's competitive nature.
They been stopped having people say that even before social media. That has nothing to do with social media. I'm telling you, how are you gonna tell us? We know. I'm 46. I know what it was okay. It wasn't okay to say at the end.
Okay, well,
it wasn't all right to sit there and call a person that slang.
When I was in middle school,
even in my
time. When I was in middle school,
but you also sit there and said you let your white boys call you the N-word too.
I didn't say that either. I didn't say that either. I didn't say I let them call me anything.
Okay,
I said I wouldn't have an emotional response to the word.
Let's not split too many hairs.
Nobody said about having an emotional response. Just don't let them say it.
Follow-up. Yeah, let me ask you all a follow-up.
Well, how can you stop somebody from saying anything?
So this word has been
you
in
can
existence.
Stop saying to you.
Well, hold on, Hank. So this word has been in existence in a pop cultural sense for like 50 years. Gen Z, Sway, y'all are younger men, so I kind of, direct this question at y'all. Just curious on what y'all think. What changed in the last 20 years? What happened because slaves were calling each other this in jest or as a term of endearment or however you want to say it. But just in the past, I would say 15 to 20
slaves
years.
Were not calling each other the N-word as a term of endearment. Bro, if you listen to
they were using
my grandmother picked cotton, my grandfather
they were using the word
cotton.
in a way that white people were not using it, and it wasn't always as a means of aggression towards each other. But whatever, let's not.
Black people didn't start. Black people know because that's a lie.
Okay,
it was a label of a.
Give me the year that you're comfortable with. Give me the year that you're comfortable with. 1970.
I would say, yeah, during the 70s and early 80s when hip hop started becoming a big advent, that's when Black people started using it as a term of endearment.
Even though in the past, let's say 15 to 20 years, just going off your example.
You think MLK and the Freedom Riders were going up to each other? Yo, what's good, my nigga? Man, hell no.
No, I mean, Black G, I got to push back. I don't think it was the 70s. I think it was a little bit before that. I think
it was way before that.
It was around. It was around 1920s when the feminism movement came in and they got their segregation and everything like that. It wasn't like before the 18. It was literally around the 1900s. It wasn't the 1960s or 70s or late. It was more so when we were transitioning and giving women's rights and we were creating our own community. Once we started establishing ourselves and then before segregation happened, we were calling each other nigga.
Right.
Before
my question is, what do you think changed? What changed in grand society to where non-Black people wanted to start being included in the hip hop culture? Because there's country music, there's all kinds of genres of music through all kinds of people. Since
the invention of hip hop, white people have always been the number one consumers of hip hop. They're the only ones who are not the only ones, but they're the main ones who are going in, purchasing concert tickets, purchasing albums. Like we even have we had a culture of bootlegging CDs in the Black community. We wasn't buying shit. We weren't even support. Like
you look at Black
Lives Matter. Hold on. Let's correct something. Let's correct something real quick. Let's correct something about the timeline.
You was right, man.
Yeah, number one, somebody said that around when segregation started. Segregation started in the 1870s that's when Jim Crow started right after Reconstruction. So let's get the timeline straight. Second of all, we didn't start it. The word nigga didn't become popular really until the 90s. Late 80s, 90s. That's when NWA started coming out. That's when it started becoming popular. It's even noted in if you read the book by Steve Stout called Tanning of America, he mentions that. So that started around late 80s, early 90s. Now I have one question. Everybody's talking about Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan's having that. The reason why he said those words is the same conversation we're having right now. The exact same conversation about. Right. So if you actually listen to the full clip of what he was saying that we are trying to police words, and I don't want to be able to police words. So he mentioned somebody's comedy bit where they called somebody
a nigga. They call somebody the S word for Hispanics, the K word for Jews, all that all those different slurs. And he said it was very shocking. That was one of the context of what he was saying, the N word. And he said it, and he keeps on every time he mentioned the N word, it was in the context of we should not be policing words. We should not be telling people what they can and cannot say, because when you start doing that, you're giving that word power.
Yep.
You're giving that word negative energy, and that's the reason why he said it. It wasn't just him saying, and I think we need to make that distinction between him saying it in an educational fashion versus him coming up to a black dude and saying, "Hey, what up, my nigga?" Or "Hey, just look at this nigga."
I
That's two different.
I said that about 2 hours ago.
And that's an appropriate
I'm sorry, I didn't hear
conversation that Joe Rogan and Jordan Peterson can be having together? You think that's appropriate? For
Yes,
them to have?
because
why not?
It's not
Hold on,
appropriate at all, bro. That's
Yes,
bull.
it is.
Can I bring it back? Because
Hey,
honestly,
man,
I said this
hey,
earlier,
don't-
man.
Hey, the
It's
guy that
not
just
about
came in,
the
he just
word.
corrected his
It's
own
Oh,
self.
one at a time,
He
y'all. One at a
just-
time.
Hey,
It's-
Aaron L.
Yeah,
Hey,
what's up?
you just police your own self, bro. When you went down the list of the words he was saying that he said or whatever, you said nigga, and then you said every other letter. You like
Yes, but you know
just
why?
proved-
You know why? Well, two reasons. One, because I don't want to say necessarily use those words. I'm not, but I understand why other people can do it. I'm not saying if you can have your own vocabulary. Two, I don't want to get JR in trouble on his platform. I don't know those words may flag his platform. I don't want to do that. So I'm not, I'm not ignorant.
What? But my thing is, why can't just because like why? Look, black people have conversations about white people all the time amongst ourselves on podcasts, on YouTube panels. So why can't white people have a conversation about black people in the context of using the N-word or describing somebody by their skin color? There's black people on YouTube who said, "Don't call me black. Don't call me an African American. I'm an original descendant of this land. Don't call me any of that. Those are the white man's terms." So why can't a white person go on their podcast and discuss those same things?
I can answer that question for you,
Let me get
Gen
him
Z.
real quick. Let me get him real quick. Are you saying that black people don't suffer consequences for having conversations about white people? Are you saying that?
Maybe Jews, but not white
I
people.
was just gonna tell you. Ask Arsenio Hall about that real quick.
Yeah, but if you
Hall, don't cut me off. I don't cut you off. Arsenio Hall brought Louis Farrakhan onto his show, and he didn't work for the next 20 years, fam. 20 years. So please do not sit here and tell us
because Louis Farrakhan
we have like some license to say anything we want about anybody as a people, because what black people we feel sorry for black people. We just gonna let them run amok and get away with whatever. Dog, we don't get away with nothing.
But your example of Arsenio Hall and Louis Farrakhan is openly racist. He's openly called for exterminating Jewish people.
Racist white woman working for 15 years. Her name is Roseanne, dog. She was on TV for 15 years.
Bro, Roseanne is not racist, bro.
Hold on, let's stay focused on what we're talking about here.
She's a comedian. Okay? She's a comedian. Is Eddie Murphy homophobic? Is Eddie Murphy homophobic because of his ridiculous comedy set? Is he homophobic because of that?
Right?
Yeah, and he ain't did it again. Eddie Murphy ain't did no set like that again.
And that's the best set of arguably one of the best comedy sets in history.
I mean, that's a conversation for a different time, but I would vehemently disagree with that. Them Eddie Murphy comedy specials, you go back and watch them thing, I dare you to naturally laugh today.
They're hilarious.
But whatever.
I still watch them to this day.
No, they are hilarious. They are hilarious.
Don't do that to Eddie Murphy. Come on, bro.
But I will say this. I don't necessarily think that what you're saying is wrong, Gen Z. I really don't disagree with a lot of the stuff you're saying. However, the issue is it seems like you're making excuses for allowing people to say whatever it is they want to say. I know that there's no law and that there's a First Amendment where the government can't prosecute you for saying certain words. All of that stuff makes sense
every damn time.
Right,
Americans
but that's not necessarily the conversation.
that every time, because most Americans have actually probably never read the damn thing.
Well, you're misinterpreting the First Amendment because unless it incites violence or action from somebody to inflict violence on another person, it's fair game.
First Agreement protects you from federal prosecution.
Right, that's for the
It does
government.
not protect you from the financial windfall or your social windfall.
Nobody said
what comes out your mouth. So
Nobody
what you're
said it
saying is
did.
you have a problem with people trying to, snuff out Joe Rogan. The First Amendment protects him from being locked up by the feds. That's all
fine.
that it does. After
I know.
that, you're fair game, bro.
Yeah, I get that, but I'm saying that's why I'm saying we as a community are too sensitive, because when it happens to us, all hell breaks loose. But when we go and do it to somebody else, it's fine.
I disagree that it's the community, though. I've been maintaining during this broadcast, it's really not black men who are getting up in arms about Joe Rogan, Jordan Peterson, Roseanne, Bill O'Reilly. The names go on and on and on. We might, as individuals, say what they said was messed up. I don't really watch their show like that. I really don't rock with people who do that. But we're not calling for anybody to get canceled, anybody to get pulled from Spotify. It's plenty of broadcasters and content creators that I bet you a lot of black men don't rock with. Now, it might be young people, you know what I mean, over, under a certain age, let's say under 25, that might rock with some of the things that Joe Rogan says, because in general, his show is meant to be educational. He might be ignorant, but he's trying to say things and then very willing to be corrected by
Joe Rogan is not ignorant.
He says ignorant things. He openly says that he doesn't have certain information. That's why he brings on professionals to correct him, or they'll pull something up right then and there.
That's not ignorance. That's being coachable. That's being teachable. There's a difference.
But see, you're thinking about ignorance in a negative connotation.
Is not knowing.
Yeah, right. See, people when they
so
hear
you bring
ignorance,
people on to educate you.
Right, because they're ignorant to whatever this information is the person has. You know what I mean? People hear ignorant.
Definition of ignorance.
A lot of times people hear ignorant and they get triggered by it because it's like a negative thing. But literally, it's not having the knowledge.
Right. Speaking on something of which you don't have much knowledge, I could lecture my wife all day long about how to maintain her body, but I don't necessarily know what it's like to be a woman, so it'd be ignorant for me to give her advice like that.
Well, that's not true either. I'm a personal trainer. And I can tell a woman how to maintain her body. I'm not a woman.
But
that's not
what
he meant. He meant
but
her
would be
body,
ignorant.
bro.
It
her
would be
female
ignorant.
Body.
You doing that would be, if a woman said you can't tell me how to take care of my body, that would be ignorant. You can
you was right, man.
As many facts as you want to, but them facts were made by women. The article that you're pulling that from was made by a woman. The primary source that you pull anything about a menstrual cycle,
that's
pap
not
smears,
true.
all these.
Most OBGYNs are men.
Okay, but I'm saying you Google something and you're gonna see, and you're not an OBGYN. You're just a rando dude on the internet. You're gonna get most of your information from people who know what they're talking about. And OBGYN is not ignorant because they're professional.
But you're saying only women. You're saying only women can speak on a woman's body, and that's not
true. I'm saying that people who know what they're talking about should be the only person who would be speaking on it. Everybody else will be speaking from ignorance. Joe Rogan is not a health professional. So when he speaks on health-related topics, that's coming from his own personal experience, but largely given his platform, if he's speaking on something without any professional context, he's pretty much speaking out of ignorance. He even says that. I don't necessarily know the facts. I don't know the data, but I think it's X, Y, and Z. Hey,
yeah, he says that because that's a disclaimer. If he brings somebody on to educate him, now he has been formally educated on the topic, so he can speak on it, not out of ignorance, but out of the education from another person who came on the podcast and educated him about said subject.
Sure, but his initial bringing up and his opinion on it is rooted in ignorance.
Did you go to college?
I see a good amount of Joe Rogan stuff. He really doesn't.
You just want to be confrontational, don't you, Black Jim?
I'm literally
so wait, is he not allowed to be ignorant?
Say again?
Are we saying he's not allowed to be ignorant or say ignorant things?
I say that he is not allowed to use his ignorance as a means to say whatever he wants to say. He can't say, well, because I don't know about this, I'm just going to say whatever. And then say, well, I'm open to correction. It's like, okay, that's cool. I'm not saying he deserves to be censored. I'm not saying he should be canceled. I'm not saying any of that. But I'm saying I can kind of see how people would say Joe Rogan regularly participates in spreading misinformation. He uses it by saying, well, I'm just talking about a topic I really don't know. I'm open to being corrected. That's a disclaimer for legal purposes, when really he's just talking. He has, and like someone said, he has to talk for 3-4 hours.
Well, it's a podcast.
So, he's just gonna talk. Well, he's going to find himself in trouble if he's just out there talking. That's all.
By who?
How is he
By
spreading
who?
misinformation though if he's getting advice and information from experts in their field and he's
Right.
regurgitating what they tell him? Like any
I
of
mean,
these
a
other
lot of
like any of these other newscasts or panels or whatever, they're getting their information from somebody else who's more credible than them, and they're regurgitating the information they get. And then we don't say that right there is the same thing that Joe Rogan's doing. What we say Joe Rogan's doing is giving people misinformation, regardless of if CNN or whatever Fox News or whatever major news broadcast actually did give you false information months ago. And we're not calling that any problems because they did give us false information
Exactly.
months ago. And the
Exactly.
information on the jab has been changing constantly. The information that we have right now is not what the information we got 6, 8, a year ago, 2 years ago. We have totally different information, and a lot of stuff that we got from these newscasts back in the day could be seen as misinformation and misleading based off of the
And
information they had.
and they're dangerous because they're presumed to be experts. While Joe Rogan, everybody knows Joe Rogan doesn't have no medical degree.
But anyways, go ahead.
I mean, I'm just the point is he's going through what he's going through right now because people believe that his platform is being used to bring on whoever, say whoever, and how many views does he get per episode? Something like 100 million, 150
11 million.
Yeah,
11 million per episode.
11 million per episode. So regardless of if he's allowed to be ignorant or not, I guess my question is, does he not bear any responsibility to say whatever it is he's going to say, to make sure the doctor he brings on isn't some shamed doctor that has already
the only reason that these doctors are shamed is because in the scientific community, they have to go with a certain narrative. Just like Sway said, the information about the beer bug has been changing since day one. The only reason why these shamed scientists are so shamed is because the scientific community came together and said, hey, this guy is he's not on our program. He's not backing the information that we're putting about the ever-changing information that we're putting out about the beer bug. So let's ostracize him from the scientific community because he's saying something that's contrary to what we want to push.
Exactly.
And I'll give you a different example outside the beer bug.
Go ahead.
I was just watching one this other day, either yesterday or something. They were talking about depression, and there's a general consensus amongst the medical community that when human beings are going through depression, they have a chemical imbalance in their brain, and then you have to subset that off with some type of medication. But the problem is that he had a guy on who didn't necessarily believe that it's just outright chemical imbalance, and that the fact that there are leading factors in your everyday life that could lead to you feeling depressed. One could be success. Two can be, you don't feel like financial stress. Like there's a lot of other things that can alleviate the mental stress in your brain that can lead to depression. And he gets pushback for saying that. For saying that you don't necessarily need a bunch of pills to cure your depression. Maybe we need to improve how people feel in this everyday life. Maybe try to help with the financial stress, the health stress, whatever the stress gives them diet. Like they were saying, like the health stuff. Like we build these big cities, but then we expect people to walk and bike around, but there's nothing but pavement and big buses and tight crowds. And you know what I mean? We're not actually building communities that can actually progress people's health and make them less depressed. And there are studies on this, but he gets pushback from that in the medical community. And I go on Joe Rogan to hear a conversation on that. Like instead of hearing, oh, if I'm depressed, I should just expect these pills to solve all my problems.
Exactly.
Instead, I need a better sustainable life that can help with my depression. I shouldn't have to feel like I should take these pills. Like the pill is one thing, but he used an analogy. It's like say you're overweight. Back in the day, I mean, I guess you can get liposuction if or you can get staples, and that's kind of a fix there. Or you can work out, and that's probably going to help you, get you better food, better environments to progress you to work out, take care of yourself, whatever it is, and you'll probably feel healthier and you'll probably be less overweight instead of doing a quick fix like stapling your stomach or getting liposuction. And that's what he's trying to say. Like we use when we're talking about the misinformation, a lot of the times people are feeling that the information we're getting from that's supposed to be the right information is the misinformation now, because it doesn't add up. We go to our own research and it doesn't. We don't We don't believe it anymore. Now we're going to Rogan to hear a based conversation that isn't what we're getting necessarily pushed. And maybe this is a different perspective that we should be looking into instead of just taking what the first thing people are telling us on the major news platforms. And that's why so many people are going to Rogan. People can say, oh, now this is what they're doing to Rogan now. They're not even attacking Rogan anymore. They're attacking the fans. They're trying to say the fans are the white supremacists. The fans are the Nazi, whatever. They're the bad people, and the fans are these things. The crazy thing is the fans are the most base people probably in the country. They're the most neutral. They're not full right. They're not full left. They're probably in the middle because they want an objective opinion instead of just hearing the same narrative that's been going on and believing in it. Somehow the narrative that's being pushing makes us, it's supposed to make us believe that they know it all, but then they don't get the actions of they know it all. They get the opposite of that, where everything is still fucked up. And so now we want a different perspective, and everyone's going to Rogan. It has nothing to do with him being a racist or him, being against necessarily black people. It's like he's having a conversation that a lot of people want to have on the why they can't say it in any form, in any context ever. They can't say it in any type of debate. They can't say it in any type of scientific talk. They can't say it about history. They can't say it in nothing. If you're not a black man, you can't say that word in any type of context or any form of whatever. And they're like, this doesn't make sense, because if we're talking about anybody else, we can use this word or their words when we're talking about scientific things and bring it up. But then the bigger issue is that we still say it today. The words that everyone fights against, like the F word or the K word or whatever, slur word for Asian people, they don't even say it like that. They don't say it so publicly. We are still saying these words today and act like it's normal. Like we can't act ignorant and just say it so publicly, and then we look to other races to not think that they're going to say it as well. So I don't know. It's just a big misconception on Rogan, and I don't think people who actually watch him think he's a racist. I think people who are getting pushed the narrative think he's a racist. I think people who think objectively don't think he's a racist. I think people who think in echo chambers definitely do think he's a racist. So when we're talking about Rogan, think of what perspective you're in and what type of box you're in and what type of thought process. Are you thinking from an emotional standpoint? Are you in your feelings about this? Did you actually watch the whole broadcast? How many broadcasts have you actually watched? You know what I mean? Like, these are the questions you should be asking instead of, is he racist? Like, what is he actually talking about to even bring up this context? What is the bigger picture going around? Why is this coming up years later? You know what I mean? He said it then. Why didn't we talk about it then? Like, these are the questions, not is he racist? Because like I said, Avon doesn't think he's racist. I don't think he's racist. Anybody who watches him, knows him personally, don't think he's racist. How is this even a question?
He's not. And you know what? I would say it's all about who somebody actually likes and who's being embraced, to be honest with you. Because didn't Bill Maher say it in a comedy sketch? But because he was against Trump, no one said anything about it. He said it he said, yo, I'm an N-word in this comedy sketch. No, I hear no pushback from anybody, but because he's
house
yep.
N-word. Yeah,
yep.
House N-word.
I hear no pushback from anybody.
No, he got pushback. He did get pushback, but it was from, his higher ups, not the black community necessarily.
Because I brought it up in a Facebook post, and everybody was like, "No, leave him alone. Leave him alone. He's against Trump. Don't worry about it. He's good."
Leave who?
Bill Maher.
Bill Maher. Oh yeah. There was not the same amount of outrage with the Bill Maher situation,
and he said it like blatantly on late night TV.
Still on air. Didn't get suspended. Anything.
Because
now,
you have
the
two.
black community take up that mantle and start preaching against him, like you said they trying to do against my man.
Say that again. I'm sorry.
Why didn't they take up the stake and preach against Bill Maher like they said?
Because he's a Democrat. He's protected. He's protected by the powers that be.
Yep, that's exactly what it is.
Yep, because he pushes a certain political agenda. Against Trump. He pushes a political agenda that aligns with the powers that be. So that's why they didn't come down and chastise him in the way that they're doing Joe Rogan, is because Joe Rogan is a contrarian to the powers that be, to the social norms and the political norms and the leftist agenda. And Bill Maher is right in line with it. He's only.
So I guess he was okay with Biden telling you your ass is not black if you go vote for Trump, huh?
Who?
Everybody was. They were.
You said okay,
yes, they were.
But majority of black people voted for Biden in droves. So what are you saying? Majority of black people didn't have a problem with it because they still voted for him.
And the craziest thing is when we bring up Biden.
Yes, that's true.
Biden has
It's
done
100%
mostly.
true.
Biden in
You
his
know who
life
I
and his
voted for,
career
though.
has
You don't know who I
basically
voted
done
for.
everything that Trump was accused.
But you're not
Who'd
every
you
black
vote for?
person.
Who'd you vote for?
Everything that Trump was
Independent?
accused of, Biden
But
has
he
done.
said every black person.
He
That
said, if
we
you don't
said.
vote for me, you
He said the
ain't
majority.
black.
That's what
He said
Black
the-
Gen.
And I said the majority of black people voted for Joe Biden. That's a fact.
And
So what's
like
the
I said,
problem?
Lapeef
Biden
Network?
has
We
literally.
have no problem with Democrats who in all actuality are the real racists. We have no problem with them saying whatever they want about us to us. But when it comes to somebody who isn't in that that political ideologue, if they're not leftist, then all hell breaks loose. And we got
What you saying is, hey, what you saying is just hey, that ain't what you saying is disingenuous because like yeah, a lot of people end up disingenuous. A lot of people end up voting for him because that's normally like the black vote. Like they normally vote
So
Democrat.
they gave him a
It
pass.
wasn't more, but still, it wasn't more about like what you're saying just because because of what he said or being black and majority of black people had went and voted for him. It's more that more black people, they kind of subscribe to being Democrat. That was one of the main reasons, and because they wanted to get Trump out of there because everybody was trying to make him as out to be a racist. Because
so do you think Trump is racist?
No, because I think he was just being a realist.
So
I don't think he was racist.
people.
I think he was just bringing the ugly heads. He was just bringing out the real out of people, and a lot of people ain't want to deal with that real. They like this fake facade. They wanted people to keep on putting this blind over your face, and he was just taking that bag off and make you look in the mirror and seeing the truth or whatever. And X, Y, and Z. It had nothing to do about us wanting to vote for him.
And I'm telling you, if you personally saying, oh, Trump is not racist, do you know that there are black people who will come out and do what Avon did to me and say, oh, I'm an Uncle Tom, I'm a coon, I got Uncle Ruckus vibes? Do you know that there are black people who would call you an Uncle Tom and call you, oh, you hate yourself just because you said that Trump isn't racist? You know
that for one, I know that.
As a matter of fact, they're doing that in the chat right now.
I know they ignorant to policy. They not reading out one policy that Biden had put out. I know that for a fact.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't really care about what they saying in the chat. Don't pay attention. Chat don't care. They just ignorant to the fact that Biden ain't put nothing in place. He just told you a bunch of jobber to get you to the polls, tell you Trump is this and Trump is that, and you fell for it.
So I move off of numbers. I move off of numbers though. Most black people fell for it. We had the largest voter turnout in damn near history in 2020.
But I told you
From the
why,
black
because
community.
they tried to because it's not just because of what he said, it's because of what the picture they try to paint with Trump.
No,
that he's a racist. So black people
you
just
have
gonna
been
run to that narrative for the most part.
It's because you have been conditioned to vote Democrat no matter who the candidate is. Like literally, if you look at
said that.
Yeah, I know, but you didn't really get to the gist of it. The gist of it is that the leftist agenda is the one that is running the political world.
But you also got to look at what state you're in. So if you're a registered Democrat, you have no choice but to. This is your option. Like in the state of Kentucky. Now listen to me. Listen to me.
Republican on the damn ticket in Chicago in 60 years, fam.
Listen
What
to
else
me.
we supposed to do?
It depends on, like I said, it depends on your state. So it depends on the state you're in. If you're registered Democrat, this is the options you have, right? Now, I'm gonna be honest. I wasn't for Biden.
Who'd you vote for?
I wanted Bernie. That's who I wanted. That's who I wanted as my Democratic representative. Right?
And Bernie is a socialist. Bernie is a socialist. That's not a better pick.
Okay.
Listen, that's just my
He's better than Biden. Literally, I would have voted for. I literally would have voted for a tree over Biden.
And that's who I wanted.
I feel you.
I mean, that's just my that was my options. But that's because I'm registered Democrat. So
It's been a good
those are my
conversation,
options.
y'all. It's been a real good conversation. This is the Lapeef Network, Lapeef Sports. I want to kind of wrap this up with some final thoughts. You know, Black Gen Z, I appreciate your input. You know, it's been incredible. Action Jackson, Aaron L, I know we got you in late, but I appreciate you. You know, what in the face of all of this, what is the individual supposed to do? Because I've heard a lot of, you know, people say that they specifically don't participate in certain behaviors, but because the group does, it's almost as if the individual is powerless to what the group wants. So as we wrap up on cancel culture and whatever it is, you know, what can the individual do to stand on their own principles in the face of what the group wants? So, I mean, do you continue to listen to Joe Rogan for the educational content? Do you go away from it because you feel like he's a little too comfortable in saying the things he says? You know, what's the best course of action going forward?
There's a balance. There's a healthy balance, and I think that we as a community are way too sensitive. Even though you say, "Oh, it's not black men who are doing it." Come on, even the vitriol that I got on this panel, I didn't call anybody out their name. I didn't call anybody using ad hominem. That is a female argument tactic. But I didn't call anybody out their name. I just presented the points. The people who get out and call you a name and this, that, and the third, they do that because they know they're wrong. So I think that overall we need to be less sensitive and we need to have a balanced perspective. Just like people are watching Joe Rogan and getting education right now. I'm not saying you can't watch a show that's ratchet like Power or Love and Hip Hop or anything like that, but there needs to be a balance, and you need to differentiate between entertainment and education. And overall, the people that Joe Rogan has on his panel are majority educational. So,
Aaron L, what do you think? You guys good points too.
Man, listen, we all grown, do what you want to do. I think that you should listen to who you want to listen to. You shouldn't be influenced by the crowd. Make a judge for yourself. I really don't like when people when we cancel people and we cancel them based off of limited information instead of going out and researching and finding out with the full context of why everybody is upset or what the clip is or what the statement was. We just go by whatever the machine tells us to do, and we just continue to run with it, and eventually we just believe the lie ourselves. You got to stop believing the lie. You got to actually research, and you know, if you care that much about a certain topic, then actually find out why everybody thinks that way, or find out why you should think another way. That's my point. But anyway, but the biggest thing is we can't censor people. Otherwise, like you'll never know who the person next to you actually is.
Got you. Action, what you think? Oh, go ahead. JR, Action, you one of you guys.
You go ahead. I really don't. I don't watch Joe Rogan, so I really don't have much to say on it. I don't watch the guy.
But just in general, you know, is it something that you want to hear from just the masses in general? You know, is it conversations that we should be having? Should people just know better? You know what I mean? I mean, everybody can kind of say that everybody knows not to use certain words regardless of the context. Or is it, do you agree with Black Gen Z that we're too sensitive and that we need to open up a little more to some understanding and try to make more effort to find common ground versus censorship?
I don't think that we're too sensitive. I just feel like it just needs to be a level of respect across the board. We not having a conversation about certain words about other ethnic groups. They don't need to be having it about us. It's just that simple.
What?
Try to restrain yourself, Black G. Just, you know, try to restrain. Hank, what you think?
Hey man, I said what I said. I just, you know, nobody should be censored, and I'll agree with that. Like I said, I just choose not to use those words, you know, and I choose not to be called those words, and that's just me. Now, I can't stop you from saying that, but if I don't address you, don't be surprised. You know what I'm saying? So it is what it is, though.
Jay, go ahead. Avon, go ahead.
Go ahead, Jay.
Yeah, I mean, I think we have to figure out, because I mean, we sat here, we're talking about Joe Rogan. The Black community is not trying to cancel Joe Rogan, nor do they need to. You know, you got to understand there's free speech, freedom of speech, but it does come with a consequence. You know, you can say exactly what you want to say, but just understand there's always going to be a consequence. What we have to figure out is how do we become the people, because all of this stuff that we're discussing and we're arguing, I mean, it's really kind of just semantics. You know what I mean? It's to keep us distracted from dealing with real issues that will elevate us. How do we become the people that can mobilize and get somebody removed from their job when, you know, like Whoopi, get somebody suspended,
But why do
get
we want to
somebody.
do that?
No, what I'm saying is, how do we earn that respect where people have to come to us and ask for forgiveness for, you know, why are our people always easily punished and embarrassed? You know what I'm saying? Whether it's Nick Cannon or it's Whoopi Goldberg, you know what I mean? We just said that what she had going on was just ignorance, you know, where she could have been corrected. But it's like, no, we need to make an example of you. You know what I mean? So we're a forgiving people. So we'll never be the type to sit there and want to make examples of people. But how will they give us the respect like we can? So,
Avon, Sway, what y'all thinking?
You're
mute.
muted. You're muted.
I don't have a problem with Joe Rogan. I like his podcast, especially the ones about aliens. Them be kind of dope. But sometimes you have to understand, and maybe this comes with age, this comes with maturity, this comes with moving throughout the corporate system. You have to understand we live in a society with rules. There are rules that are written by the government, there are rules that are written by society. And in the rules that we live under right now, there are magic words that you are not allowed to say in certain contexts. Right now, there are words I can say that will have me never working again. And I want to address this issue of the N word directly. Tell me why someone is comfortable coming to you as a black man and saying that word. Tell me why you are comfortable having someone come to you and say that word. And I'm going to leave it at that, fam.
Sway, take us home.
I don't know if that question was directed at me. I don't think it was. I think it was probably at Gen Z, but I mean, I'll try to answer it. I don't think anyone's comfortable with it. I mean, it's just we're not gonna basically put ourselves in a situation that it doesn't necessarily benefit us. If we'll tell him like we don't fuck with you, we don't like that, cool. If he keeps saying it, then we're not gonna like make it a bigger issue. We're just not gonna associate with him. You know, we can keep saying it, stop saying that till we're blue in the face, but we don't really have any power against him unless we want to get violence or some go to the authorities. But it's like that's a whole big issue that no one wants to get involved. So like I said, we don't have any control over these white boys or Hispanic men, or after they said that was a whole conversation with Kyle asked me about Hink. If he asked me to stop saying it, or respectfully, I would have to stop saying it if I still want to be associated with Hink. If I still want to be friends with Hink, or have any type of relationship with him in a sense that like business relationship, if mentorship, whatever it is, I have to respect his boundaries when it comes to certain things, and that's one of them. So I mean, I don't think Gen Z would allow white boys to just be saying it left and right and be still associated with him, or necessarily not say anything about it. I mean, I think that's what you guys feel about him, but I don't necessarily think that's the case. Um, I don't believe that if you aren't black, you shouldn't say it. Shouldn't say it. You shouldn't say it at all. That goes for Hispanic men. That goes for whoever. If you're not black in any type of form, you come from a black mother or a black father who's actually black as hell, actually, got some roots in them, then don't say it. I don't want you to say it at all. I don't think you should think you should say it. If black people say it, it is what it is. I'm not gonna get mad at them. They can say it. I would rather no one say it so we can just get rid of this whole word all in all, so we don't have to keep having this conversation. Because it is an annoying conversation to have every once in a while. Let's just stop saying it all in all. I would get on board with that. If we can get a general consensus to just stop saying it. Everyone chill out. No one say
Never
it.
happen.
I would stop. I would get on board. I'm cool with that. But like I said, we have a hard time everybody getting on board with each other and having a general consensus of how we feel about certain things. Well, like I don't know who said it earlier, but you'll have 10 different black men and they'll all say different things about it. I am firm belief that if you aren't black, don't say it at all. And if you are black, try not to say it at all either, so you don't get this narrative out here that it's cool to say it.
But we don't. My thing is, we don't have smoke for any other race that says it except white people. Literally.
Nah, I mean, we probably don't have smoke for maybe the Hispanics, but if you're not any type of
There's Asian
melanin,
Crips right now with music that has over 1 million views saying the N-word, and they're not canceled. They still on YouTube. Nobody has called for them to be demonetized or be deplatformed. Every other race has a nigga pass, essentially. But we only have smoke for when white people say it, even if they're not saying it in a derogatory context. That's my point. But I'm
That's
a
not
coon
true.
for saying that.
That's not true, bro.
I mean, it is
I
true.
would not. I
Look
would not
at what
allow.
we mobilize for.
Bro, I'm in Texas, bro. Bro, plenty
You're one
Hispanic
man.
people.
You're one man.
You keep
I
on
guarantee.
saying one man, but you just named a group that I never heard of or never seen. So how I'm supposed to say something or do something about it? So like you throwing out these general, like
You
these
could get
general
online
statements,
and
like
push the
everybody's
movement.
supposed to. You
You could
making it
get
seem
online
like
and mobilize a movement
against Asian Crips.
against Asian Crips, yeah, or Hispanic gang members who say it all the time.
We're
Y'all
going to
act like
mobilize against Hispanic gang members. This is what you're asking. Gang members and Crips.
bro.
This is what
You
you're
act,
asking us to mobilize against. These
I'm
people,
just telling
want
you
us
who's
to,
saying it.
you want
I'm
us
just
to
telling
fight
you who's
against
saying it.
Asian Crips
No,
and Hispanic gang members.
I don't want you to.
I've
I don't
been
want you
with
to.
you as most times,
Can I finish?
Black
Can I
Gen Z,
finish?
but
Can I
those 2
finish, bro?
points are ridiculous.
I never said, oh, I want you to do that. I'm telling you that the reason that we mobilize against white people is because right now it's open season for them. Like you can pretty much say anything about a white person and you're not going to get any backlash.
I mean, I agree with that.
Hey,
To
look,
Like, I can call them the
What's
C
white
word.
people?
I can say white people don't season their food. I can say white people this, white people that,
Can
and
someone please think of a
what
there'll
white
be no
you
problem.
keep leaving out is that they create that word to be negative intent.
They didn't create the word. They didn't create the word. That word has Spanish origin. So
listen, man, they use
I'm
white people use the word. I've written
I
about this. White
specifically
people have.
said they using in negative
you said they
intent. That's
created
what
it. You said they created the
Okay,
word.
all
They
right.
didn't create
I'm
the
talking
word.
about the intent. I'm talking about the negative intent of the word, bro. Like you
Yes.
just want to nitpick, like you can do that all you want, but you
Joe
hear what
Rogan
I'm
didn't have
saying.
negative intent when he said
I'm
the
not
word.
talking about Joe Rogan, bro.
Now
I don't listen to the
Jen,
man
you're
at
arguing a
all.
couple different points, man.
I'm not listening to the man. I don't listen to Joe Rogan. I'm talking about you said white men. You said white men. You didn't say Joe Rogan.
Have you
They
ever been
put
called the
negative.
N-word
They
by a
put
white man?
white
Hold
men
on, let him
put
get it out,
negative.
Drew.
White men put negative intent on the word, brother. That's simple. It's just that
Okay.
simple.
Yeah, I get that. I get that.
That's why we
That's
don't
not the
want
point
them
I'm
to say it.
arguing.
That's why they get the most heat.
White people are always going to get the most heat for the word since they use the word to dehumanize us. If you're
I
going
don't
to use it
disagree
against
with
the
that.
culture of people that you used it in the past to dehumanize and make us seem less than, that we weren't even a human being by basically calling us that. We were a dog at that point. You owned us. Like, using that word as a white person, you should understand that we're still going to have that negative connotation about it, regardless of how you feel about it. You know, we're going to still
Exactly.
feel like that you
Hold
think.
up, hold up. So you think? I mean, I got to challenge you on that. So do Jewish people got the same care if you call them a K word, whether you're German or you're black? Do they care any less if it's black or German?
Nope. You getting canceled either way.
So what are we talking about right now?
I
You gotta
don't
keep the
even.
same
But the
energy.
thing is, I don't even think a lot of black people know that word. I didn't know what that word until Miles
I
Leonard or
I
Miles
still
Turner
don't know
situation
what
brought
y'all
up.
talking about
I
with the
don't know it.
Jews.
I don't think about it. I never brought it up. If anything, I mean, it's the same word as a fucking thing you fly in the sky. I was like, what the hell is this? What does it even mean? I just know that it's a derogatory term, and I don't even say it regardless. So
I mean,
I mean,
I hear
that's a
you,
little
but
bit
if they,
different because when we
but I hear
still
you, but if
say
you
the
say
N
it
word
though,
every
It doesn't
day,
matter if you know the
we
word. It's the fact of the matter that if any race uses that word, they're going to be canceled. If black people use the N
But
word or any other
the
race uses
problem
that
is
word, they're
we're
not going to be
using a
canceled.
word
Only white
that
people.
we keep trying to equate the N word to all these other derogatory terms, but we're not holding any accountability on ourselves for using
No,
it every
no.
goddamn day, for putting
You're
it in music, for popularizing the word in a way that now it's global.
But
So
you're
I'm
equating
not.
the N word. You're equating the N word with negativity based off of the skin color of somebody.
No, I'm basing the N word based off of how came about in using in the context in America amongst whites and blacks. And when you ask why are white people going to get more heat for it, I explained it to you. because the way they used it in the past 100, 150 years, it's been used as a word to dehumanize us. And regardless of how advanced and woke we are as Black people, me and you, regardless, if we hear a white person say it, our stomach's going to cringe, our face is going to cringe. We want to initially punch him in the face, but we know we can't. So we're going to check him on it. And if he's not, we're going to keep moving about our day. Because we grew up understanding, seeing the narrative that we're in jail, we're down low, or whatever. So we're not trying to push that narrative where we're this negative, angry, something to be feared or something not to have around, and you can't work with us. And so that's why we move the way we move, and that's why they think you're Uncle Tom, is because you are trying to work with white people more than they are when it comes to this word.
I'm not trying to work with it. I'm just saying keep that same energy. If you don't want other people to use a word, then we have to, as a community, stop using that word.
We agree with that.
So that's my whole point. But I'm an Uncle Tom because I say that.
Young Bloods. Let me put the challenge out there right now. Let's stop today.
That's fine. I have no problem with that.
The years we could easily get us stop using that word as a movement. I mean, if that's what we're
it's a choice.
Doing, then
it's
I
a
feel
choice.
like
Nobody makes you use those words. It's a choice. You choose to use those words, and if you choose not to, then there you are.
But the people who we prop up in our culture are going to continue to use those words.
Oh man, you gonna bring up every time we come up with a solution, you bring up some more bull crap, bro. He just came up with some kind of solution.
This is
Gen
what
Z,
I
this
was
was my
saying
question
earlier,
from
bro.
earlier.
This is what I was saying earlier. So you ain't saying nothing not damn positive about your people since you got this damn check. We gave a positive damn solution to the problem.
And I said I have no problem with that.
And you came with some negativity, bro. You
I said I have no problem with that.
Positive about your own people, and that's why people calling you the damn names they calling you in the chat. Because every time we talk about our people, your face turn up, fam. We know a danger when we see one. Dog.
That's not true. That's not.
It is true. That's all you've been doing the whole time.
No, it's not. I'm just arguing the point that y'all are giving the power to a word based off of somebody's skin color. What does that have to do?
I'm not giving the power to the word. I'm not gonna say it.
Okay, that's fine, but I'm telling you
that
the people that we prop up,
like Gen Z mindset. No. Don't worry about the people we prop up. Stop supporting them people. Stop listening to them. Stop downloading them. Stop following them. Do what you have to do. If you don't agree with what somebody's saying, don't partake with them. Don't invest in them.
I mean,
let's stop the word there. Like Jen, we gonna do it. Me and you gonna make a pact.
I'm fine with that. I have no problem with that. Yeah,
we can do it. We can do it online. We can do a cyber handshake. Mm-hmm. Can we do that, young black man?
I don't know if you want a handshake with Uncle Tom, right?
Look at
I'll do it.
Hey,
y'all the ones came with the ad hominems. I didn't call anybody one name.
Look here, man. I shake hands with the enemy. You have to. You got to make deals with the enemy. That's why I would call Uncle Tom an enemy. I'm not saying you in particular. No, dog. Calm down, man. Calm down, big brother.
Well, we're gonna end it here. A lot has been said. You know, a lot of ideas have been said. A lot of what's been talked about are very valid points all the way around. Gen Z, you're not wrong. A lot of your points you made, you are correct. You're not wrong in that some of the things that Black folk allow to have happen, or some of the things that we're upset about, Black people have allowed to happen. So as much as we want stuff to stop, to Hink's point, I think if we stop first, then we'll be able to be the leaders for everyone else. So again, this is the Lapeef Network. We're going to keep an eye on how the whole situation unfolds, if there's going to be any kind of change across the board. If we all want to start on this panel today with stop saying certain language that we don't want other people to say, I think we need to do that. Otherwise, maybe we should just mind our business, get our resources up, pull everything together, and purchase our respect, as was so eloquently stated by KS in the comments here. So I'm gonna throw it back to you, JR.
All right, we appreciate y'all tuning in to Lapeef Sports. Catch us next Sunday. Amir is live streaming tonight, you guys. Amir is live streaming. You guys should see that posted right now. But tonight Amir is going to be talking about every man is alpha compared to you. Every man is alpha compared to you. So make sure you guys tune in. That's 7:30 Central Time. See you guys later.
Black Gen Z, I love you, my brother. Stay strong, no matter what.
All right, fellas.
You have a good Sunday, fellas.
All right, y'all.
All right, fellas.
Drop a like.
Make sure you guys get them likes up on your way out. We appreciate you. Thank you for the support. The Mirror is live tonight, you guys, 7:30 Central Time. Make sure you guys tap in. Go ahead and hit that reminder button tonight, 7:30 Central. Catch the Mirror live. See you, Sean Gates. Thank you. Appreciate it.